Welcome into the Jordy Culotta Show. Wave your hand out there, baby!
Shout out to the show.
She puts the pinky into the nostril. Man, look at that.
Healthy competition, there's nothing like it.
Y'all grow up. The line's wrapped around the stadium. Different strengths. Mm-hmm. I just lost a tooth.
It's going to be fun.
You know, we might have a story.
I love what you're doing.
Ogeron wants to take us fishing this afternoon.
Sharif, you play for the bad boys of the SEC, man. We don't apologize to anybody.
A lot of people are saying you're going to be wearing number 7.
I don't really know. I want to.
See, look crazy, Bill. Good feet on the old man.
Definitely come back.
We'll be right back with the Jordy Culotta Show. All right, welcome in to the Jordy Culotta Show on this Wednesday morning, live here on this Wednesday, getting started. Special guest kicking it off with us this morning from WAFB, our news partner, Jacques Doucet, one of our favorites. He's usually with us on Wednesday. He's got a speaking engagement this morning. We're going to get him in and out of here within the first hour, but we'll jump into it. We got Brody Miller coming up an hour from now. We'll talk to Miller. Miller has an excellent piece over at The Athletic, kind of talking about that two-point play and just the mindset of LSU football here under the direction of Brian Kelly. We'll talk about it coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. God,
you're a professional.
Just poisoning the audio right off the bat.
Oh, Lord.
this guy's been in – how long you been in broadcast?
He sneezed first before he even say anything.
John Stefanski's going to be here. Special announcement from our guy, Stefanski. Looking forward to talking to him as he is getting into a statewide race that we will talk about a little bit here, and also get to his thoughts on Pelicans. Always fun to catch up with sports. Stefanski had like a 8-second FaceTime on the Jumbotron on Saturday, and he didn't know it. Like it was one of those moments where he was like standing cross-armed, like just kind of like looking at the field.
Yes.
And the cameras just caught him and like just kind of like locked onto him for 8 seconds. And I saw it up on the Jumbotron, but we'll talk to him about his experience Saturday night. All of that coming up here. Remember, daily we're brought to you by Go Chevrolet, online at GEAUXChevrolet.com. Going down and seeing the boys today at noon, heading over to lunch at Go Chevrolet over in Laplace. Going to check out Nick Richard, Lee Carney, and our friends over at Go. If you're looking for a new car, if you're looking for a used car, stop in at Go Chevrolet in Laplace, Louisiana. And our phone line brought to you by Metropolitan Health Group. Jacques, it's good to see you, bro.
Great to see you, Jordy. The sun is shining even a little brighter in Baton Rouge today after this past weekend.
It is. We'll talk about the LSU Gold account. I know that Jacques hasn't seen the content yet, but we'll talk a little bit about some of the information that came out of there. But Jacques, let's start. Just kind of take me back to Saturday. You've been covering LSU sports for a while now. You've been a part of some really cool moments in the program's history and the athletic program's history. Saturday night felt like one of the moments that we will remember for a long time. Where does that kind of rank for you, and what was your experience like?
I would have to think certainly one play, one moment. It's got to go down as something that you'll never forget until you die. If you're an LSU fan, LSU player, I was in the north end zone, right in front of the student section. Decided to just kind of watch it off the monitor and film the student section with my phone to get their reaction as they watched it in real time. Amazing how there's dead silence for about 3 seconds, and then everyone explodes. And I would describe it as being like human missiles just shooting onto the field, and you're hoping that one doesn't connect with your battleship, so to speak, to get wiped out. But and I look over and I see Scott Woodward just kind of with his hands in his pockets, just stone-faced, just kind of making a casual walk to the locker room like it was a noon Sunday walk. He was not like jumping up and down But on the inside, he's got to be thinking, yeah, we got the right guy, and this is some good stuff.
Holy cow, right.
Moving forward. But, I immediately said, it has to be one of the greatest games in the history of the stadium. I would still put LSU Florida 1997 as my number one just because they were in the prime of Steve Spurrier. They were number one. LSU couldn't land any punches on Florida, and they win that night. That one. But, man, if you have it number one, I wouldn't argue just the back and forth because when Bryce Young somehow gets away from Allie Gay and B.J. Ojulari and throws that touchdown, that was like, it could have been the T.J. Yeldon moment.
No doubt about it.
Rip the heart out. We played them hard. We're going to lose type thing. And it was interesting. I talked to Matt Mauck yesterday, and Matt Mauck, we kind of made the parallel to 2003 against Georgia when Georgia threw the screen pass late in the game.
Browning.
Yeah, that could have been the rip your heart out moment, but instead LSU, Devery Henderson, big return, and then Mauck throws a touchdown to Skylar Green. Similar, LSU responded in that moment. And I can't even imagine. I asked Mason Taylor after the game, how do you not think about the enormity of that pass coming your way?
Wow.
He's like, well, we run it at practice. I catch it at practice. Why not catch it in the game? And he caught it. And, Matt Mauck said it was the right call. I thought they should have gone from the get-go, but what was even more impressive is that Saban called timeout.
Yeah.
And we said at that point, we could have said, hey, let's kick it. But nope, we're going out there and we're going to run it again. So
it was super impressive, man. And Mason Taylor, obviously the play, the 2-point conversion, the touchdown catch he made in the double coverage. I mean, what an enormous night for him. What did you make of the buildup of that game, the 2-week buildup? I mean, it always kind of takes on a life of its own. You were really kind of steadfast on, you were kind of staying on me like, hey, man, let's get some content out. Let's build this thing up. Let's catch a part of the wake here. What did you think of going into it, kind of the lead up?
Well, there's always that balance in your head of, we're going to get them this time. This is it. And don't get your hopes up because, you've had your heart broken in the past. But people coming up to me at the gym or at the grocery store or whatever, the question was, you think we can play with them? You think we got a shot? You think? And it was a 13.5-point spread, which tells you that if it was at Tuscaloosa, it would have been like an 18, 19-point spread. But it was very clear in the first quarter or two that Alabama wasn't on some sort of different level than LSU. Like, LSU didn't need like 4 turnovers and a block punt and all sorts of crazy stuff to win the game. They were on the same level. But, I think it was just a case of building up to the game. Where does LSU stand? Can they compete with an Alabama? Can they somehow win the game? Because I think at the beginning of the year, LSU was kind of like land of misfit toys. It was a guy from Florida International, it's a guy from East Tennessee State, it's a couple of Raging Cajuns. I mean, they're just trying to hodgepodge this roster together, and they were just never fluid and never in sync against Florida State. And got beat pretty soundly at home against Tennessee. And to think that we're waiting on the playoff rankings to come out where LSU's at and can win the SEC West,
right?
And go to the SEC championship. It's just an amazing turnaround.
It is a wild story. What did Saturday do for Brian Kelly, in your opinion? Just kind of.
Well, I'm not trying to talk down to anybody, but I got a couple of questions like, well, if he wouldn't have made it, he'd been on the chopping block. I'm like, no, that's not the case, They're heading, can't we see where they're going? His contract is 90% guaranteed.
What did the guy follow that up with? And they'll rehire Ogeron after that.
I always like that more.
Right.
Give me Les. Shit, he'll go for it.
And the funny thing is about Les is that Les made some crazy decisions, but he would never go for 2.
No, he didn't have a play.
It was the trick plays. It was the surprise you. And this surprised Saban to an extent, who, by the way, in his post-game press conference, the LSU chants just bleeding in.
Unreal.
To it. And I'll say this about Saban, too. A lot of people criticized he didn't give LSU credit or whatever. I think Saban takes losses so personally in terms of what did I do wrong, what did we do, that he's just looking inward the whole time and not maybe thinking about, complimenting the other team.
I also believe that he knows LSU's got the guy.
Well, that's another thing. And I told Scarborough that. I'm like, you're the recruiting guy. They probably tell him, look, don't compliment Brian Kelly too much because, LSU can grab that and put that in a recruiting video and all that. But
right.
I said this, Jordy, Nick Saban hit his true prime. He won his first national championship at LSU when he was 52, and he really hit his prime in his 60s. And the question is Brian Kelly going to hit his true professional stride in his 60s now that he's got the program and the players? This is going to be his, I hate to use the word worst because it doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
This is his worst team at LSU, right?
We
Moving
said that.
forward?
We said that on Monday. I can't, and that was the same way. No disrespect to this. This team has first-round picks. This team has pros, right? But for what they're building and what they're attracting, right, this will be, as far as just a talent filled roster will be the least talented that he will field, it feels like.
Yeah. And I'm impressed with him because this is the big challenge now. Now the big challenge is handling success, getting your feet back on the ground, and moving forward. And I don't know if the word cold isn't maybe right, but Monday at his press conference, there was kind of this coldness to him, like, we got to move on to the next assignment and knock it out. He wasn't giving a bunch of flowery, emotional sound bites. And I don't know if it's LSU Gold or whatever tweeted out that when he's addressing the team and he says, I hear that around here when we play Alabama, we raise to our level of competition. That's a bunch of bullshit.
It's incredible.
And
the LSU Gold content this week is exceptional. It is as good of access that you could ever ask for as an LSU fan. If you don't get an idea of the program that is being built and how Kelly wants to do it, you're not paying attention, because that address was on Monday of last week.
Gotcha.
When he said that to the room. Jacques, on Wednesday, when he pulls the team together, these are some of the numbers that he gives the team that proves to not only them, if you're a listener, a fan, even a media member like us watching, makes you say, wow. Last week, for the first time, since Brian Kelly accepted the job in December and implemented his program in January, right? So for 11 months, he's been running the program. For the first time last week, they had 3 consecutive days where their questionnaires, 100% of them were filled out. That was the first time that happened. Also last week, for the first time since Brian Kelly has been on the job, they had 100% class attendance in Bama game week. I asked Lloyd before the show, you walked in while we were getting prepared as well. I would love to know the last time that an LSU football program had 100% class attendance for one day. That was the stat. That one day last week, 100% of the team went to their classes. I'd love to know the last time.
Does that include walk-ons and stuff, too? You got 85 on scholarship?
I'd imagine
that's hard to
I'd imagine they are monitoring everyone.
Yeah.
Right? So
that's amazing.
100%. And let's just, even the 3 consecutive days of the questionnaires being filled out, you could tell that was a big deal to him. And in that address, he was saying how proud he was of the team. The way that he has gripped his team it has been really cool to watch, the access that the Gold account gives you. As soon as the game's over, they're in the locker room. The locker room's awesome. Everybody's celebrating, got their phone out. Finally, Kelly addresses the team, and he says just what everybody speculated. He says to them, the first thing he says to them is, I was not going to let anybody else decide the outcome of that game. Because if I am going to let anyone decide it, it's going to be this room, because you're the only people in the building that I trust. And I mean, like, you can see his team just like, nobody's blinking. You know what I mean? Like, everybody just like, and he was like, I'll go to war with this group every day. I mean, people are just,
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, it is a locker room. I mean, I got chills telling the story of just, you can see it all being like molded. You know what I mean? And Saturday was a huge jump for the organization. And I will even say in that Monday addressment of earlier in the week when he said, I hear that we rise to the level of our competition, he brings up the Arkansas game. In that, when he's talking to them, he says, because let me tell you this, we got to go to Arkansas the following week, and if we get beat there, it doesn't matter what happens on Saturday.
Good point.
You know what I mean? And everybody's still like, nobody's just, everybody's just, they show Kayshawn, they throw Wingo, they show Ali Gay, like all the studs. I mean, all of them are just like locked in. I mean, you can just see it being built, right? And it's very comparable to the point of view like people like you and I had to Saban, where nobody was given that type of access, right? Like you were just around the program and you were telling stories, you were catching stories, or you might have caught like a glimpse of it. You were like, holy shit, like they're doing it like the really right way now.
We'll park in a spot.
But it has that type of feel to it.
No, I mean, I talked to Cody Worsham on Monday and about the LSU social media team and all that, and they had 150 million impressions since LSU won the game, the most in the country out of any college football team, second to Michigan, and that's the difference now as opposed to like when LSU beat Florida in 1997. You watched it on the replay on ESPN at 2 a.m. You kept the Advocate newspaper and stuff like. Now you just relive it as long as you want on your phone over and over from different angles, from different shots. I mean, the Billy Cannon run, I've seen one shot of that.
Exactly.
Here comes Billy Cannon, right to left, and that's it.
Yeah, right.
And so, and kudos to them. They do have the access. I'm not hating. They do have the access. Yes. I mean, they go places we can't go, but they are doing an excellent job, no doubt about it. And they've got the resources. They understand that this is where it's at, and they've resourced it. And there's no doubt about it. And LSU's a likable team. I mean, any team that wins is likable. I know that. But when you see Major Burns just somebody, because I follow some of the rules that some people don't, I would edit it and tweet it myself. Somebody needs to put Chariots of Fire thing, dun, 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 the slow-mo of him running after this guy and catching
What
him.
A huge play.
Huge play in the game. And Josh Williams, Tasmanian Devil. I mean, he's running, he's catching, he's just blocking. I mean, he's doing all this stuff. And John Emery played the best game of his LSU career, in my opinion, on Saturday. When he catches that pass, he brings some electricity to the running back spot that nobody else can. Yeah. There's no doubt. And when he cuts it back, I'm like, oh, they're going to look at this, and he stepped out. He didn't step out. And so just so many likable players on the team. I interviewed both Alan Faneca and Andrew Whitworth last week, two of the greatest LSU offensive linemen ever. Neither of those guys played as true freshmen, and both of them were like, I can't imagine being a true freshman and this offense. You're asking me to block Will Anderson off the edge. And I saw Brad Davis in passing, LSU's offensive line coach, and I said, seems like they didn't call Will Anderson's name a whole lot. He goes, oh, he was out there, trust me,
Good. 3 tackles.
Yeah, 3 that was it?
Stat line on Will Anderson Saturday night, 3 tackles.
Booger McFarland before the game told me he thought he's the best player in America. Forget offense, defense. Best player in America as far as how he can impact the game. So that was it? 3 tackles for him?
3 tackles. Wow. I mean, what a night for Campbell and Jones. I mean, by the fourth quarter, they're barking at Bama. Like when they're pushing the pile, Jones and Campbell, not unsportsmanlike by any means, just like, we're here. You know what I mean? Like, we've been talking about this for 3 years. You know what I mean? And look at us, man. We're pushing the pile against Bama in the fourth quarter with a chance to win it. I mean, it's wild to think about how good Mason Taylor, Emory Jones, Will Campbell, Harold Perkins are going to be 2 years from now in this game.
Yeah.
I mean, like it will be like watching.
And not patting ourselves on the back, but you and I, when we were talking at SEC Media Days, we were saying, I said, when they're juniors, they're already kind of the faces of the program. But when they're juniors, they're going to be kind of like the Andrew Whitworths of the 2003 team and stuff like that. The guys that if LSU's in the next year, I mean, they could be. How good can they be next year if Jaden Daniels comes back
with the sophomore class? Makai Wingo, Brian Thomas. I mean, like all these guys that are sophomores on the team. One of the things that we did not talk about, and I wanted to make sure and point out, was that on that overtime run by Jaden Daniels, Mason Taylor and Josh Williams have 2 key blocks, but Brian Thomas is not brought up because he's not in the screen. He's got Eli Ricks 2 yards off the sideline. I mean, that blocking that Jaden Daniels ran behind on that overtime run was as flawlessly executed of a football. It looked like a video game. I mean, it looked almost fake how well that play was blocked. And I know that Josh Williams has gotten a ton of credit, and deservedly so. Mason Taylor had a great block. I haven't heard Brian Thomas's name as much. And if you go back and watch it, it's almost because you can't see him. He's got Eli Ricks so far out of the screen that you don't even really recognize that he's there, and Daniels just kind of walks into the end zone. The challenge this week against Arkansas. This is a trip that you have made countless times. It's a miserable place to play. It'll be miserable at 11 o'clock on Saturday morning. It'll be gray. It'll be cold.
Yeah.
What do you expect here?
Well, I'm just thanking God that it is at 11 a.m. and not at night, because then if it would have been at night, it would have been even colder. But I think the high on Saturday is like 44 degrees. The low's 20. The challenge of this game in these even years is always – you're coming off the most emotional game of the year, the game that you want to win more than any other. You're going to the cold, and you're going to a place. Look, when I go up there and watch the local news, it always hits me over again where, the girl's like, well, the LSU Tigers are in town, the biggest game of the year for the Arkansas Razorbacks, and our biggest rival, and they take that boot serious. Like, it's like the national championship trophy. Where down here, it's kind of been a joke. Now, from what I've heard, Coach Kelly has put an emphasis on getting the boot back, and they want it and this and that. So that's the challenge that you've never been able to kind of counter Arkansas's
emotion.
Yeah. It's never been. I mean, Arkansas has been in the league now 30 years. It's never been LSU Florida, LSU Auburn, LSU Alabama. It's not that, but it counts, like Coach Kelly said, just the same as last week. So, and the point spread is 3. So they're expecting a close game. So, but it does seem like, during the play interviews last night, we're ready for the cold. We practiced outdoors during January, February. We got our feet back on the ground. And so we'll see. Seeing is believing. But that's the challenge. Because, and I'm not trying to speak anything into existence, but one team, one podcast, and all these guys put out their top 10 Tiger Stadium games. And I think 6 out of 9, LSU lost the next week. So Brian Kelly has nothing to do with that.
Sure.
But how do they move forward and handle this? So,
LSU controls their own destiny in November. They have a chance here. I think I saw an 87% chance to go to Atlanta.
Let me ask you this real quick.
Yeah.
LSU Georgia, what's the spread?
I would say
13.5.
16. I was going to say 16. I was going to say 3 scores.
I was going to say 17 or 18 maybe.
Yeah. And it's in Atlanta.
Right.
I remember going there in 19 and feeling flooded. As good as LSU was, and there was purple and gold everywhere, it was a sea of red and black in there. And they knew they were going to lose that day.
LSU's hammered them the last 3 times, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
2011 SEC Championship.
Yeah. Saturday, for as good of a Saturday as it was for LSU, and it was an enormous Saturday last weekend for LSU, it was a probably bigger day for Kirby Smart in Georgia. Not only did they hammer down the number 1 team in the country in Tennessee and take that spot back, they don't have to play Bama in the championship.
Yeah.
That's
called doing your dirty work. Someone else did our dirty work.
Right. And they probably won a little bit of LSU.
Yeah.
That's an easy message for Kirby to sell, right?
Oh, easy.
He doesn't care about Brian Kelly.
Just turn on Burrow, Chase, Jets, all of them just running all over those first-round picks. All 5 of those first-round picks that he lost last year are on that field, right? So, it's –
I would have to say, I don't know if it's the most, but if you had to pick one moment out of Joe Burrow's Heisman Trophy, it'd be the scramble to the left.
The spin out.
The scramble to the right. Yeah. Chunk it to Jefferson, catch. Jefferson weaves all the way back the other way. I'd have to say that was like his one. If you had to pick one play, that was.
And even the first touchdown of the game that day, where Kirby Smart showed his cards, where he was like, "We're not going to blitz him. We're going to put everybody back in coverage," and he stands back there. I think he stands back there for 11 seconds. And he's pointing Chase. And he just throws it to a spot, and Chase just runs right into the ball. And you knew, the guy sitting in front of us was a Jordy. He's like, geez, this is going to be a long day.
I'm sure Kirby was like, all right, we got to scrap that. This man's playing offensive coordinator behind the line of scrimmage. He's like, you just run a little bit over there. I got all day.
Like, oh, wow, this is going to be the number 1 pick in the draft. All right, Jacques, I know you got to run. Great to see you. Before I get you out of here, Kim Mulkey's squad. Have you seen them play yet?
A little bit. Haven't in person.
Yeah.
I will. But they scored a team record, 125 points. I was still trying to figure out the pronunciation of the team they played. Bellarmine, I think. Small school from Louisville, Kentucky. I don't care who they play. 125 points. Angel Reese makes her LSU debut, scores 21 in the first half, 11 of 14 shooting. She's like Mulkey said, I can't tell if she's left-handed or right-handed. She uses them both, Yeah, they're loaded.
They are special. I'm telling you, they kind of feel – I don't know a lot about women's basketball as a whole this year, but – it's hard for me to believe that they can't be a dark horse. They're a tough matchup.
I don't think they're going to be a dark horse. I think that
I'm talking about to win the whole thing.
Me too. I think the word's going to get out pretty quickly once you start putting up 125 points. Like you said, doesn't matter who you play. But then they start looking at the recruiting class, the freshmen, the transfers they brought in, and Kim Mulkey is as electric and as an electric personality as it gets. So they're going to be in the spotlight for sure.
I don't know if they're ready this year, but we talk about Brian Kelly, Nick Saban, Kim Mulkey, Dawn Staley. Mulkey's coming.
No doubt. She knows it. Staley knows it.
Yeah,
Staley knows it. I mean,
keep the person there that is not going to make me uncomfortable. That's the thought process.
Right, absolutely.
That was her. That's the Les Miles theory for Nick Saban. Same thing. Like, oh, he's a great coach. Which, shouldn't have treated him that way.
Yeah, right.
I didn't want Brian Kelly.
There
here
was
at
only
all.
one coach talking about Nicky Fargas being released. There was only one coach talking about Les Miles being released.
Right.
You know what I mean? It just happens to be the coaches of the year in the conference. Jacques, good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate
Absolutely. Jacques Doucet, WAFB, the best. You know where to find him. Channel 9, our news partner on Twitter. Great social media. We'll be back with more Jordy Culotta Show. Remember, daily, we're brought to you by Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. Get in touch with Barker Brothers today. They are number 1 and a number 2 business. They got a couple of trucks over here on East Baton Rouge Parish, so they can help you out on this side of the river as well. Give them a call. Easy to get in touch with Jude Barker and his crew. 225-776-2431. 225-776-2431. It's a number directly to Jude Barker's cell phone. You get in touch with the president of the company, whether you're looking for commercial work, whether you need residential work. Jude Barker and Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works can help you out with all of it. In fact, if you need a remodel, residential or a commercial remodel, they can help you out with all of those plans as well. Mention the Jordy Culotta Show and you'll save 15% from our friends over at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. 225-776-2431. 225-776-2431. We're back with more of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Mailbag day.
Donaldsonville Glass and Body, the trusted name in frame, body, and automotive paint repair since 1977. They have served their customers for over 45 years. You can find them online at dgbauto.com or stop in and see them Railroad Avenue and Division Street out in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Look, they can help you with your insurance claims. They can make the repair process as stress-free as possible. I'm speaking from experience here. I've got numerous windshields, body repair, all done by Kenny and the crew over at Donaldsonville Glass and Body. They are, without question, the most well-equipped shop in the area. Stop in and see them today. Shop them online, dgbauto.com, or stop in and see the crew over in Division Street in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Donaldsonville Glass and Body. Hey fellas, it's Jordy Culotta for my friends over at Men's Total Health. Guys, do you suffer from fatigue, decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, weight gain or loss of muscle mass, signs of depression, anxiety, hair loss, mental fog, general loss of interest? Then you might be suffering from low testosterone. Go see my friend Mike Roach and his great team over at Men's Total Health, over in Metairie at menstotalhealth.net online. And stop in and see how they can change your life today. A simple shot and some knowledge from Mike Roach can get you back up, moving with your energy, get your sex drive back, build your muscle mass, make you feel young again. All online, menstotalhealth.net. Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz. I was embarrassed about my smile. Are you unhappy at yours? Do you not smile back at yourself? I called my friend, Dr. Spillers, over at Johnson Spillers. He fixed my smile, and now everywhere I go, people are complimenting it after the work that Dr. Spillers and the staff did to my mouth. They can do it to yours. Get in touch with them. JohnsonSpillers.com. 2 locations, one in Gonzales, one in Baton Rouge. Easy to find them, JohnsonSpillers.com. We love the crew over at Fresh Chef Kitchen. Chef Shane and his crew dropping off the meals every Monday here to FM Digital Media, whether it's breakfast, lunch, dinner. Me or the crew's going through our meals over at Fresh Chef Kitchen. Their weekly pre-order, freshly made meals, or you can walk into the cooler over there on Airline Highway. They have that fresh, same service over there at Fresh Chef Eats. FreshChefEats.com is where you can find them online. Fresh Chef Kitchen. Tell them you heard it right here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet every single day. GEAUX Chevrolet.com is where you can find them online as our friends over at Go Chevrolet. Looking forward to going over there and seeing them today here as we'll be over in Laplace, Louisiana for lunch. Appreciate Jacques for stopping by as Jacques was in here. He's usually here on a Wednesday. We also have your mailbag questions, so if you want to jump in, we'll take your mailbag questions inside the chat as always. Coming up here at 8 a.m., we're going to talk to Brody Miller. Miller has an excellent piece over at The Athletic. If you have not read it, it's kind of must read if you're an LSU fan, really. I mean, it is a little bit about the decision behind Brian Kelly going for the two-point conversion and just the mindset of LSU football of where they're going and kind of where they're headed. As, you know, it's a recruiting update and gives, you know, just the come down of that win and what it means for LSU football moving into the future. I believe Brian Kelly shows his value more this week than he did in a huge game last week. Look, man, I'm not a spokesman for LSU Gold. I know that I've said this before, and really and truly, you know, that they're no competition of ours. I mean, they're a streaming service that is showing the value of digital streaming. So I really love to promote that type of product because it shows just how big and enormous this platform is and has the capability of becoming. I mean, think about it. Just 2 years from now, you'll be getting all of your LSU content, you know, whether it's from LSU Gold or whether it's from the Jordy Culotta Show, right here. You know, I mean, like it'll be accessible right in your pocket.
Does that make ESPN or CBS or any of that or any of those like actual that you can do it in house now? Like you obviously saw some of it with like the NFL has been doing this for a long time, where they do their own in-season Hard Knocks, like it through the organization, not through HBO or anything like that. But now that LSU and college football is diving into this game, you see Ole Miss do it with the program, like. They're starting to see, like, we have all of these resources. We have all of this. We can use it almost to make more money. But if you invest it correctly and then have a team that can do it, look at all of the eyeballs they can get. And then they're marketing it the right way by giving away just one episode, the one that everybody wants to watch. Because if you don't give it away for free, people are going to riot because they know how good it is. They want to see it so badly. So it's like, hey, here, here's a free one. Now, you probably want to subscribe for the rest of the ride this year.
No, you definitely do.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I was hesitant to, you know, fork over $10 a month for another streaming service, right? I mean, I think we all have gotten to a point in our life where you stress out, like, how many $8 accounts do I have out there?
Microcharging.
You know what I mean? Just like how many $4.99s have they jumped me to $6.99s in the last 2 months, 3 months that I have no idea I'm getting clipped on every first of the month. So I'm not forking over $10 a month again, right? I mean, we're around it enough where we'll just get it. Nah, that's not the case. You know what I mean? We're around it. We've got really good relationships. We talk to a lot of people over on LSU's campus and a lot of athletic, you know, departments, a part of the athletic departments, and, you know, women's basketball, men's basketball, football, baseball, all of, you know, softball, volleyball. I mean, you know, all of the programs, we've got good relationships. I can't bring you this access. They do a great job of promoting their product. I mean, I learned so much about LSU football, Brian Kelly, and just his style of leadership. He's an incredible leader. You know what I mean? One of the things that we've said from the jump on Kelly that's been super impressive is how good of a communicator. He's an elite communicator. When you watch him talk to his team, when he takes the opportunity to build trust between his team and himself and the coaching staff, he does that. How forthright he is in implementing his policies, but how endearing his personality is to his players to help them get there, right? I mean, all of that is brought to you from that behind the scenes that LSU Gold brings you. In this particular week in the buildup of Alabama, you see things like what Jacques and I talked about, which tells me that the buy-in to Brian Kelly and LSU football it's real, it's happening, you're witnessing it. It's taking place, and even Brian Kelly and his staff are taking notice and complimenting the team. If you missed it, we said, last week from his talk with the team, he brings them together after practice. I believe it's on Wednesday. Sorry. He brings them together on Wednesday after practice, and, he sits, they're in a knee in front of him, and he starts to just kind of paint the picture of Saturday. Of the moment and what has to happen for you to perform. And it's just taking what you're learning here and just continuing to apply that every day and take it into the stadium on Saturday night. And he says one of the things that shows that we are bought into this commitment of graduating champions is that for the first time in his LSU existence, which started back in December, but really started to take shape and implementation in January, have they had 100% attendance in class? Think about that. Think about a football locker room. There's 100 guys in that locker room after a game. We've all seen some of the social media and some of the images coming out of a locker room after a football win, right? I mean, think about how many people are in that locker room. Now think that you have to get all of those people that are between the age range of 18 and 22 years old to go sit in a classroom and learn about biology, psychology, name the subject. And you have to get 100% of them to buy in and know what it means to go sit in that desk and listen to something that they really don't care about. The majority of them don't care about. But to show their buy-in to the program, they've got to do it for their teammate, for their coach, for the betterment of the program. Last week at LSU, I learned this through watching LSU Gold and Brian Kelly address his team, that for the first time since Kelly has been here, he's had 100% class attendance. Last week they had that one day, which is amazing to really say out loud when you think about that. They also had 100% of the team finishing and turning in their daily questionnaire for 3 days in a row. They had never had 100% 3 days in a row. And last week, when he was addressing the team on Wednesday, it was the third consecutive day of that week that they had gotten 100% inclusion. I mean, if you're wondering, that's why the national storyline around Brian Kelly is now so funny to look back. And, I mean, everybody talking about the accent and the culture fit, and it's not a good fit. I mean, Stephen A. Smith, that take that he had about the administration doesn't like him, the town doesn't like him. I mean, that is going to age
the players don't like
horribly. Because if you're watching LSU, I mean, if you're getting some of this access and you're seeing the buy-in to the team, and it's easy to like somebody when they win.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, let's not lose sight of that. But if you're watching kind of like how they're winning, this is a winning that's going to last. It's a program that's going to stick. The way that he's building it feels like it's going to be a contender.
And don't you think he gets a lot of that buy-in because of the fact that they're winning? Like, I do think there's some merit, not to what Stephen A. was saying, but to some of the contention. Like, there might have been some contention in the building because of you have back-to-back team meetings, like players-only meetings, like early on where it was like, I don't know if they're all the way bought in on what Brian Kelly is selling because it's such a totally different message than what they were hearing from Ed Orgeron or every other coach where it's,
here's the deal, man.
I'm giving you the tools. It's up to you to use them.
Here's the deal. People want discipline. People want accountability, right? I mean,
sure.
That part of their life.
No, they know
right?
they need it. They're looking for it.
And really and truly, they want it.
Well, and they also want it from somebody that's not, like, you could say the same thing. If they want discipline, they want accountability, they go to class. Like, you have to actually know me, like, get to know me. And I feel like Brian Kelly has developed interest in personalities and who they are. And
in the middle of the game, Frank Wilson tells John Emery, and this is, again, access that you – and by the way, I see 3 people inside of the chat right now that's saying that they are getting a gold account. Yo, Cody Worsham, Emily Dixon, waive our fee. I mean,
that's all you're asking for?
I mean, for God's sake, we're salesmen. I mean, we're pimping memberships for you.
It's like Roddy Rand.
But it's awesome. I mean, it is great content. I would advise anybody out there to get the subscription. We've got it, and I access it all the time. But what were we saying?
Brian Kelly's
Frank Wilson.
Relationships.
Frank Wilson. In the middle of the game, John Emery makes the run, puts his foot in the ground, and Frank Wilson tells him in the middle of the game, that's the best run you've made since I've been here because you've taken it from the classroom, from the practice field to the game. I told you, put your foot in the ground, get the leverage to the field. I mean, all of the football guy talk, he gives it to him. But, I mean, it's just all of what's happening, you can see it taking shape. Right? And like Jacques and I were talking about, and it's not like I was there, you weren't there. It just was, you didn't have this access back in 2001, 2000, when this stuff was taking shape with Saban. And Jacques and I were young media members. I mean, I was still in college, media member type stuff. I mean, I was still cheering in the press box type stuff. But, I mean, you were around practice. You could go to practice. And back then you could kind of go into a scrimmage on a Saturday morning as a student. I mean, I still tell the story. Donnie Jones. I mean, we went to high school with Donnie Jones, and we showed up and said, Donnie, we were friends and family of Donnie. And Saban was like, get those 3 people out of here. I mean, after a drive. Because he knew we just didn't fit in. And we were like, well, we're done with Donnie. I mean, Donnie, after the scrimmage was like, bros.
You're going to get me killed.
Man, I got to run till December now. Donnie, get over it, man. But it was just
past that.
Yeah, I mean, you just didn't have the access, but you could see all but you were watching, thinking wow, this is not Curly Hallman's LSU. This is not DiNardo's LSU. This stuff is legit. This is for real. LSU's going to be good. That's what you were thinking back then. Now, I mean, you can see it. Just get the access, pay the fee. You can see it. You can see the way that the team is building trust. You can see the way that the team is buying in. You can hear the stats that the coaching staff is giving back to the team, proving.
Another thing that you talk about the effort of the classroom, effort with the questionnaires, which I was wondering how those it feels like Brian Kelly would notice if you didn't fill it out. That's not the point I'm trying to get to. It's the effort and what they've exerted going into the Alabama week, the numbers that he compared before Tennessee and the numbers that he compared to Alabama, and how they had 11 guys run over 18 miles an hour, and the comparison of
That's another
guys,
one, bro.
this is why you lost to
That's
Tennessee.
That's another one. I'm glad you brought that up. That's another stat. Good morning, Carpool Queen. How's the traffic out there?
It's great. Obviously, I'm here at 7:45.
I thought you were a little early.
Here.
Thought you were a little
but
early.
I also threatened everyone's lives this morning too.
You got what?
Also threatened everyone's lives this morning too.
Ooh,
and then there was a wreck yesterday. Nobody could help that, but
Carpool
still.
Queen on a Rager.
Yes.
I was on a Rager. I was not having that again.
It was all day though.
It was all day. I don't know what the hell
traffic?
was going on.
Oh
Yes.
my
It's
God.
unbelievable.
It was unbelievable.
It was awful.
unreal.
Everyone was late to everything. Everyone was complaining. I don't know where.
It's an 18-wheeler on the top of the bridge or something?
Yeah,
It's crazy.
But like,
was nuts.
it cleared up. Like that was at
Well,
7
no,
a.m.
but
What
once
happened the
once
rest
it
of the
happens,
day?
Yeah,
everybody
freaks out,
everybody
man.
starts
Freaks
going.
Freaks out.
especially
Larry
here.
Huber, Katie is notoriously late. She drives carpool, bro.
Oh yeah, I'm not
I mean,
late.
it's not like she's, like,
not every day of the
oversleeping
week,
every
but
day.
no, some days
It's not
I
my
have to
kinda
drive
late.
carpool.
Yeah,
so I'll
right.
come to the second
It's not
hour.
Lloyd late.
Larry.
So I just need to have a kid.
Huh?
Oh, I just need a kid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
well,
can
do that.
everything.
Excuse.
That'll definitely grow you
everything.
up, bro.
Fix everything. A baby
Right.
fixes everything.
That's what I
Kid
hear.
by 3 will be sitting at the coffee table rolling one. Here, Dad,
Hey, don't forget your lunch.
you're oversleeping again.
That's all I need.
But Kelly also points out the physical traits of the team that are improving. Like early on in the season, they only had so many people run over 20 miles an hour and consistently run 18 miles an hour. That number has almost doubled. You know, I mean, that so you hear the traits and the signs that show that the team is improving and getting better. And all of that is, you know, showing the buy-in. And I believe, like I said, to kind of start this segment off, I believe that Brian Kelly will show his worth, show his value even more this Saturday than he did last Saturday. Because this has always been a spot where LSU has either tripped, stumbled, or it just, you know, felt lucky to get out of there with a win. I really feel like LSU has an opportunity to be the better prepared team, to be the mentally stronger team, go up there, take care of business, catch a flight, get home, and keep it moving. I really did. Like, that's the type of program and the type of team that it seems like Brian Kelly has begun to see take shape and mold that's happening. Right? I mean, think about one of the, you know, like one of the things that we always talk about in this business. You want your team playing its best and when it matters. I mean, think about where LSU is right now. I mean, they have just kind of like, from a momentum standpoint, over the last month, have just gotten, you know, better each week.
Well, and I don't want to say it was luck, but to be able to come back in the Auburn game, to be able to come back in the Mississippi State game, like there was definitely points where it was, I don't even want to say it was 50-50. You're down 17-0 at Auburn at Auburn, and you have no signs of life. You don't really know who your quarterback is. It feels like for them to be able to bounce back, kind of go through that struggle, get beat by Tennessee, and now you're starting to see how it kind of turns over where it's like they're playing with so much confidence now. And I don't know if that's because of being able to come back in those games or they're just finally buying into what the message is. But either way, what LSU's doing right now, and I think what Brian Kelly said that you touched on with Jacques was, listen, this Alabama game doesn't mean shit if we don't beat Arkansas next week.
Awesome.
So when we get there.
It's great, dude. Like last Monday, I mean, like the Monday of the Bama week, he walks into the team room and starts addressing the team about Saturday night, you know, and just – his point of view is, you know, I mean, he's like, look, the fans are going to be there, but if you want them to react, you got to play good. You know, you want to play good, then your thoughts need to initiate what your actions are going to be. I mean, he's a very meticulous, detailed guy down to the point where he does have LSU believing where it's one play at a time. I mean, even as he's addressing them pregame before they go and slap the wind bar. That's what he's like telling him. He's like, if you're just going to walk out there, slap the wind bar, and, you know, watch the lights go off and think it's just going to happen, that's just not how it works. It's up to you. Like, you got to choose to win the play, every play. And I'm just, you know, I'm kind of paraphrasing him here, but I mean, he has broken it down so minute to them where it's just like the 2-point conversion. You know, you got one play. I've been preaching to you all year since I've met you back in January that just play it one play at a time and take all of the stuff that we've tried to implement into your life, your physical training, you're getting faster. Go to class, you're becoming more accountable. You're becoming more responsible. We're becoming more trustworthy of one another. Right? I mean, like that locker room post-game, I mean, you can see there's not a lot of enemies in there, and there's probably some dudes that don't like each other. How can you not get it when you put 105, 18 to 22-year-olds together? They're not all going to agree on everything, but you can see from a team aspect, they're all bought in. I mean, they're all in. And it's easy to do that when you're winning, but they could have lost them when they were losing.
Right.
And they haven't. And everybody is pulling. And I believe this Saturday, Kelly will show exactly why you gave him 10-year guaranteed $100 million to turn the program into a consistent winner is to win these games. Yeah, you got to win last Saturday night. But I think Brian Kelly coming in, it was more not expected, but you knew you were going to get LSU's best punch in a game like that with Kelly on the sideline, right? I mean, I'm not taking it for granted, but that was easy to get juiced up for Saturday.
What are the odds for Saturday?
LSU's minus 3.5.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So there's some respect from Vegas. Like they're saying, let's still see who they are.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's the ultimate, this is the ultimate letdown spot for sure. But when you're talking, when Brian Kelly said those things about the speed stuff, that's what I was wondering if it was more him trying to make a point of where was this effort against Tennessee, Mississippi State, Auburn, whatever. Mm-hmm. Are you only juiced up and I'm only going to see this for Alabama, or are we going to start doing this every week we're here? I know you can't go 100% every time, but there's obviously some places where we can get better where there are guys, because when they say the numbers, you hear some guys going damn, we didn't bring it at all against Tennessee. And I'm wondering if it's we only do this to get up for Alabama, or this is a trend that's starting to continue.
The best quote I heard come out of the LSU Gold content last week in the Alabama lead-up was Cortez Hankton, your guy. Mm-hmm. Commitment is not convenient. Was the quote.
Commitment is not convenient?
Commitment is not convenient. You can't choose when you want to commit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you want to be great, if you want to do the thing, if you want all the shine, if you want a chance to win and make big plays, well, you got to commit when it's inconvenient, when it's inconvenient, right? Like it's easy to commit on Saturday night, right? It's easy to commit Thursday at practice through and walk through when it's, not as difficult, right? But when it's nobody's watching and you're committed and you're going through the process and you got to watch the film and you got to break it down, you got to eat the right things, you got to go to class, you got to do all the stuff, you got to turn the questionnaire in, you got to do all the stuff that's being asked of you to do. That is the commitment.
And that how he followed up was why'd you think it was going to be easy? It's not supposed to be easy. Anything that you ever wanted, this wouldn't be easy. And so he's happy to see the guys go for something that they could have not done the questionnaires. They could have totally turned this around on Brian Kelly. So he's like, well, guess we're not doing questionnaires anymore. And then, that's when you start losing, and that's when the players start winning, and that's how coups get formed. So it's just good to see that was probably his toughest task in terms of getting the team, was to get them to buy in on everything. Mm-hmm. Because once you start not doing one thing, then the dominoes start to fall. And I'm sure they didn't want to do any of the stuff that Brian Kelly was asking because they didn't have to. Now it's we were playing with, Ed Orgeron. It was fine. It's wait, that's not how you win. Mm-hmm. And so this is what you have to do to be able to be a championship contender, it feels like.
Remember Daily, we are brought to you by RMB Builders. Our friends over at RMB Builders, Rhett Bourgeois and his crew. Get in touch with them today for a custom design home. They're over at Katie's house working on a remodel job right now. So if you need some remodel work, get in touch with Rhett. Reconstruction, or if you just need some handiwork done around the house, get in touch with Rhett Bourgeois, rmb-builders.com. Their Instagram is on fire. If you want to hit them on Instagram, you can hit them there. rmb-builders.com is the website where you can see a gallery of work to choose. They are working on all types of projects they have going on right now. You can find out for yourself on their Instagram if you want to find some specific neighborhoods, some specific projects that they have going on. Check out our friends over at RMB Builders. All right, your mailbag questions at some point here over the next hour. We're going to talk to John Stefanski, who announced earlier this month or earlier in October that he was running for the Louisiana Attorney General spot. So we'll talk to him about gearing up his campaign and what the next year is going to look like for the representative out of Crowley. Coming up here at 8:15. 8 a.m. we're going to talk to Brody Miller, and as we said, Miller has an excellent piece on last week's win for LSU. How do they turn it around here and get refocused for Arkansas in the travel to and the spot to Fayetteville on Saturday? So we will talk to Brody about that coming up here on the Jordy Culotta Show Make sure and hit the like button, the share button, comment button. Hit that subscription button if you have not subscribed. Tell a friend if you don't mind. Just share it and see if you can't get us moving today. We appreciate you always for being out there and helping us out with your interaction. Flag football is over for your boy.
What happened? How did it go?
Well, we won the championship last night. Yes. Ended on a high note. Probably going to go play the state tournament the first weekend of December.
Okay. How he always does it.
Okay.
And this is Little Jay's last season. He goes, well, we might go to the state tournament. But he said he's somber about it. He said it's been a great experience for the boy.
It's incredible how fast it goes.
Oh, that's much more of what you're sad about?
Yeah, because last night before our game, we were watching, I believe, like a third grade game.
And was it
I mean, like it would just it feels like like I was talking to my assistant guy, the guy that coaches with me alongside me, Grant Fall, and I mean, we were just like kind of looking like, man, it's incredible how fast like we're here, and like I mean they're in 6th grade now, and flag football kind of loses its
appeal
like the older they get because more and more kids are playing tackle, but you still have skilled athletes, like the skill players out there playing. I mean, the team we played last night was, we were going score for score early on. It ended up, at the end we kind of ran away with it. But it was, it's still fun out there. But the end of it is definitely sad. Probably more for me.
Right. Well, you don't get to
sure,
coach no more.
Yeah.
That's what it is. You want that visor. You want the clipboard. But really, and why I think it kind of starts to lose its luster the older you get, 6th grade, that's when you have other kids at school. They're saying, oh, you still play flag?
Yeah.
Because they're out there playing
they're
football.
transitioning to tackle.
Right. So if you're still the last kid on the flag team, you ain't tough. Which isn't necessarily true. Flag, you can learn a lot of stuff, but that's like
skills.
you do it from like 1st to 3rd grade, then you start playing tackle football in 4th and 5th grade.
Did you hear Jaden Daniels and Bryce Young talking about the lead up of that game? I mean, where they met was on the flag football field, and Bryce Young said he was the only player, Jaden Daniels was, Jaden Daniels pulled Bryce Young's flag in the open field.
I love that.
And he had never had that happen to him. And really and truly, I'm not, by no means am I promoting, but I would advocate for flag football. Our flag football experience has been incredible, start to finish. We started like when he was in 1st grade. He's in 6th grade now. It's been a just fun, competitive, good-spirited fun, and Traction does it fantastic. Shout out to Brad Cressy and Kate, the way that they've run the leagues and done everything. I would absolutely encourage anybody out there because to me, and a friend of mine, Jesse McCormick, and I were talking about this, and his son is now kind of going into flag. He's like in 1st grade, so he's just getting the bug.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Pass
like
he's got
the shirt, the hat, the socks. You know what I mean? Like whistle around his neck, play sheet.
He's wearing flags.
Yeah, like I remember it. I love it, dude. You know what I mean? But Jaden Daniels looks like he runs like a flag football player.
Well, that's what it is. It's perfect for kids that don't want to play soccer to be able to get soccer-like skills, right? Like it makes you. Like the way that soccer players move on the field is what you can do in flag football because you don't have to worry about the physicality of it all. Even though you are still bumping and moving into each other, like you get a feel for it.
Oh yeah, well
but
6th grade flag football is physical.
Oh no doubt, because they're pissed at each other.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's still, if you are a skill player,
7-on-7.
The way that it refines route running, pass catching, hand-eye coordination with flag pulling, and it teaches you need to have good footwork. If you're a skill player, to be able to shake somebody up in the open field and make them miss a flag it's a skill. It is something. And if you can make somebody miss a flag, you can make somebody miss a tackle. And that translates. And you can see, I have seen it in my son, and I've seen it in players on his team that I've seen play, the advantage of playing flag football. And whether it be the route running, the pass catching, for my son, he's played quarterback over there. So, anticipation to being able to throw somebody into a space that's open, things like that, and just the competitive spirit of it. It is a fun environment to go out and watch. We had some controversy last night where it got a little.
No way.
They had to bring the cop to the field.
No.
Yeah, nothing on our side, bro.
A cop.
Why?
Is it a parent thing?
Absolutely.
It was a like the game started, where we get the ball first, we score in the third play of the game. They get the ball, they score on the fourth play of the game. We get the ball back, score in the first play of the drive. They get the ball, they score on like the third play of the drive. Like it's like fireworks, bam, 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 bam.
Tyson fight.
Like right when you look up, it's like 20 to 20. It's like 20 to it's 20 to 12. We've got the lead. 20 to 13. We've got the lead. They're coming down, and they're about to score again. So it's about to be 20-20, and they got a chance to go for it. We missed an extra point, and they throw the kid a crossing route, and the kid is catching the ball like at the goal line. And still, I don't have a view. There's people with camera angles. I've seen it.
Oh my God.
The guy says the referee says he's bobbling the ball as he's making the catch. My guy, the safety, kind of pops the ball as it's in the air and grabs it. And he kind of, as he grabs it, he kind of like looks around like, did I just intercept it?
Yeah, no whistle.
And the referee has no whistle. So he takes it to the house.
Oh, yeah.
And goes the length of the field. And
were you freaking out?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, you are
It's
kinda.
a game-changing play.
It was a game-changing play for sure. I mean, yeah. I mean, if we're about to take a 2-score lead,
Yeah, we're
which is
about
a
to be tied.
huge,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's an enormous swing,
Game ball.
right? And the referee is like running behind my guy. So I'm telling him, I'm like,
Go.
finish it.
Yeah.
Finish it. And he crosses the goal line and he signals touchdown. And the place goes bananas. You know what I mean? Like the place freaks out. Their coaches come off. There's the quarterback's dad on the sideline, on the opposite sideline, is running with the referee, kind of like, you better not make that call. He scored. He scored. And so, like, I'm just kind of like saying, I'm like, yo, Green, get back, take a knee. You know, I look at the referee, I'm like, great call. Great call.
Love what you're
and
doing
I'm like,
here.
I was like, bro, stand your ground. Be a referee. Don't let them referee the game. Stand your ground. I'm like, get my team, you know, like, everybody huddle up, take a knee. So it's like, you know, like it's mayhem. Coaches are going wild. Parents are going wild. Here comes one of the executives on a golf cart.
No.
You know what I mean? Like pulling up. Like, what's the situation here? I'm like, Coach, I got no idea. I got my team. You let them explain to you. You know what I mean? So like, he's like telling like people are losing it.
It's
You know what I
what it
mean?
is.
Like other people. I got it on camera. We got instant replay right here. You know what I mean? Like, so like it's getting like 2, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. You know, so finally I step out and I'm like, hey, either way, we got to play the game.
Okay.
Like, what's the call? Make the call and let's move on. The coach like looks back at me. If this was your team, you'd be going nuts. I said, I thought that the quarterback sack was a bad call.
Yeah.
Did I say anything? You know what I mean? He's like, they're going crazy. So I said, step back, but I'm like, you got to make the call. Like everybody's just,
We
we're
can't
waiting here. You know what I mean? Like, do we need an extra point or do I need to get my defense back out on the field? You know, and he's like, and the guy like real, like boisterous, like touchdown, and like I mean, like I'm like, hell yeah, way to stand your ground, great call, and people are like, shut up, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
now he wants to talk.
yeah,
Yeah,
like,
I'm cool
shut
with
up,
it.
you know what I mean? So people are going nuts, and then we, you know, like we hit it. So like right there, I'm going for 2.
Yeah.
I want that extra point back, and I want to take a 2-score lead.
Coach is
And we
disheveled
hit
over
'em,
there.
and they never were able to bounce back. And
Who don't play? What school?
well, I don't know what school.
Oh, okay.
They were the Ducks. We were the Hurricanes. Nobody cares.
See how
Yes.
that's
What?
the perfect ending to that story. How fired everybody gets. He's like,
Yeah, I don't know who we played.
Yeah, the Ducks and we're the Hurricanes. It's like, go get your orange slice and get out of here.
They got rings last night, Coach.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Brody Miller.
We don't have review.
Brody Miller from the Athletic. Hang on. Get my headset here. Brody, sorry for making you listen to that terrible parenting story.
That's what I
Good
came
to
on
see
here
you. Good
for.
morning. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing well, much better after hearing all that.
Thank
That
you,
was
brother.
fantastic.
Great piece over at The Athletic. I was telling people before we got on, if you have not read it, it is fantastic, kind of taking you into the mindset of that call, into that 2-point conversion by Brian Kelly. Tell me what happened on Saturday night for LSU football in your opinion. Where did they go? What stratosphere did they go under Kelly?
Yeah, I think I can't believe I'm about to steal from our famous athletic commenter, Catherine B., but I think she put it really well, and I completely agree with it. I think what mattered most about Saturday, right, was 2019 was this meteor, right? And it was this dream team, and beating Alabama was one of the most emotional moments I can remember around LSU football. But there was something about it that felt just like, I don't know, an outlier, but also like they were taking something down. And this win felt a bit more like this is a real, authentic, just LSU beat Bama. It wasn't everything came together in a juggernaut way. It was LSU and Alabama just played a real football game, and LSU won it. And I know that sounds overly simplistic, but like that hasn't been the case in 12 years or whatever. So when I look back on it, I think that's what stands out to me, that LSU outcoached them in a lot of ways. They out-schemed them in a lot of ways. That never happens in these games. You saw them out-tough them on the line of scrimmage in so many ways. And Jaden Daniels, I mean, I can't give him enough credit for how he, so much of this game plan once again was RPOs, and he just continued to kind of ascend and kind of, call the game like a real quarterback that so many didn't think he was 5 weeks ago or whatever. And then that call at the end. I mean, I think so much of that really was, okay, you just lost a game to Florida State because you didn't go for two. You kicked the extra point and it got blocked, and you felt like you were going to win that game. Or, the entire game, just Kelly definitely felt like the calls were going against LSU. Don't leave this in anyone else's hands. So, yeah, it was just I feel like this was as big of a win at LSU in a lot of ways, even more than any one win in 2019, just because it showed like things might actually be evening out.
The relationship between Kelly and his team, it's evident the trust that's being built on both sides. How do you view that relationship, how it started to where it is now going into November?
Yeah, I think trust is a really perfect choice of words, because it's like, I think I've talked to Josh Williams almost every week about this. He's probably sick of me asking, but about like, yeah, this did take trust, because there was a little bit of like, one, who is this guy? Two, he's asking us to change everything. He's got like all these new rules and accountability and all this stuff that wasn't how it was done. And I think there is a little bit of like, all right, why am I listening to this? And right around fall camp, I think, is when people were already buying in. We all saw, right, the changes in accountability, all that. But like, there's a level of like, we'll follow this guy that I think happened around fall camp, where they were like, they saw the differences. They saw the way they're preparing and all these like, process changes, organizational changes. They saw how it led to a better camp than they've ever had. And they're healthier and stronger and faster. And now you are really seeing, with all these second half comebacks, with the fact that even in games where LSU isn't very good, they always look stronger and faster in the fourth quarter, for example. And I really do think to lead to this, yeah, there is a relationship there. There is again, I don't know if this will last in 5 years or whatever, but they kind of love this guy. They kind of do. Like, they love that he is kind of this, I'm going to say how it really is, or I'm going to, I'm not afraid to be like, let's go beat Bama, or let's go beat Nick Saban. And I think he has a good relationship with his team, which is kind of surprising in a lot of ways.
Mason Taylor had a huge night on Saturday, obviously the 2-point conversion and the touchdown catch, but he was a part of the game plan again on Saturday night from the start. What have you made of his development and growth?
Yeah, right, because I think I had so many questions throughout the early in the season of like, why are they throwing nonstop to this guy? I think he's going to be good eventually, but like, and it's like, one, I mean, I could go down a rabbit hole of like, he was dropping some like 50-50 balls that were kind of bad passes. Like, some of it was a little off. But yeah, he's a true freshman. And I understand what Kelly was doing there, because LSU doesn't have great tight ends. That's been well documented. And I mean, it goes back to the Harold Perkins conversation we were having like 6 weeks ago, to a very, very different scale, because Perkins is now like irreplaceable. But if you don't have a tight end that's really like making you inherently better in the blocking game, or making you just all better in all these other ways, why not go with the guy who might give you more upside? Why not go with the guy that he's probably going to make some mistakes, but he's also going to, in the long run, give you things that probably no one else can? And I think that's officially where you're at with Mason Taylor, where, yeah, he's still not some amazing blocker, but I think he's a better blocker than he was week one, and he has become a really good receiver. And as you know, his biggest strength is, man, how many times in the last like 3-4 weeks is they get him the ball in the flat, and he's just more athletic than anyone around the flat, and he takes it for like a 20-yard gain. And then that catch, I mean, that's that catch in the end zone to at the fourth quarter to take the lead. That's a catch I don't think Mason Taylor's making 6 weeks ago, and not because he couldn't catch it, but because the moment probably. So yeah, Mason Taylor is officially, a starting tight end for a few years now, and he kind of gives in a weird way. When they went with Jack Besh at tight end last year, it was like, you want that hybrid. He gives that while still being a tight end in a lot of ways.
How tough is that play to guard that you mentioned? That RPO where Mason Taylor's been the guy, the running back has been the guy at times where you just dip him out into the flat and you're playing one-on-one with Jaden Daniels, and then you've got a receiver down the field that you have to respect. That seems like that has become almost the identity of this offense, which rightfully so because it looks so difficult to guard.
Absolutely. No, I think that's, you got to give credit to Mike Denbrock. I think a lot of us were probably fairly hard on him at times early in the year. And I think you are seeing kind of sometimes a game plan seems simple and dumb when you don't get to see what they're building toward, I think would be the best way to put that. Mm-hmm. And I think in this game you saw, okay, there's things that look overly simplistic sometimes. They are actually setting something else up later, and that's going to pay off. And, I think Mike Golick had a great tweet about last night that kind of posted the early RPO stuff they were doing with the tight end that's been working all game, right? Sometimes Daniels runs it, sometimes it's Taylor, and it worked. Yeah, they did it like 20-something times, and it worked. And then in the fourth quarter, they changed it up, changed the motion of the tight end and all that, and then completely set up something that they, Alabama wasn't expecting, and it led to that game-winning Jaden Daniels touchdown run in overtime. So yeah, I think it's a really smart thing because now Jaden Daniels finally has the confidence to make that throw downfield. So that's actually a threat with the receiver in the one-on-one. And you have Mason Taylor now becoming a guy who he's going to win that race with a linebacker in the flat almost every time. And as we clearly know, Jaden Daniels is his running has almost elevated in a way that's just. He had 3 or 4 runs in this game that it was like he'd cut back, make a guy miss. And this is Alabama. Wasn't that the biggest question we had is like, he's a great runner, but running in the SEC, like you might get laid out. You might get clocked. And it's like, no, he's maybe a better runner than he ever was. So, yeah, I'm completely with you.
Jacques talked to Andrew Whitworth and Alan Faneca last week. Faneca's a Hall of Famer. Whitworth just won the Super Bowl after a really illustrious career. Might be a Hall of Famer at some point post-career. They couldn't imagine playing tackle as true freshmen. Both those guys did not play as true freshmen. And to see what Emory Jones and Will Campbell have done, not only Saturday night, but this entire season, they were just kind of dumbfounded by. Now that they have, Will Anderson had 3 tackles on Saturday, which is crazy to see that stat line. What do we make of these tackles? I mean, they're this special? I mean, I believe it. I mean, but is that the story, that they're just this much different than everybody else their age?
They are probably different in the sense that, one, as Brian Kelly's talked about, to come in early and be the guys who in a weight room are already some of the best guys on the whole offensive line. That's rare, right? But those guys exist. You see those a few of those every year. But then to combine that with, I think the thing that Kelly gives them the most credit for is to combine that with when Will Campbell makes a mistake, he's just like, no problem, I got the next one. That's really rare as an 18-year-old. That's not common. Same with Emory Jones. And Emory Jones, you've interviewed him so many times, he's a rare kid. I mean, there aren't many kids that kind of are that caring and thoughtful and just very giving. And he's a really smart, ahead of his years kid. And I think those things all lead to where you are right now, where they're prepared to be on that stage. And yeah, I mean, I think you and I talked last week about, like, you're not going to win against Will Anderson because, yeah, they drove him back, right? Yeah, it's the best pass rusher in the country. But to not get flat out beat by Will Anderson all night, to get driven back and not be, like, discouraged or all that stuff and actually look better in the second half than they did in the first, it's mind-boggling in a lot of ways. And it's scary to think those guys have frames that haven't even really filled out yet. They're still physical freaks as true freshmen. They have so much more physical growth to go. There is no reason that for the next 2 seasons, LSU shouldn't have 2 first or second team all SEC tackles that are just your tent poles for the foreseeable future. And now you can get more creative on the inside. You can't have, you can be like, hey, this guy might be more of a tackle, but he's one of our best players. Let's move him in. I think that's the luxury that gives them. And man, this offensive line went from an utter disaster against Florida State to now they are number 1 in the country in stuff rate allowed, which is basically like how often you get blown up at the line. Right. I think they're like 5th or 8th nationally, I forget, in pressure rate, which is wild because you see the sacks and you're like, wow, because the sack numbers are high, but they're not allowing that much pressure, which I think is a much better indicator. So yeah, man, gives so much credit to Brad Davis and Brian Kelly, but at the same time, man, it's just rare to find kids like that.
Harold Perkins' performance, SEC Defensive Player of the Week after being named SEC Freshman of the Week for his performance versus Ole Miss. Where is he stacking up as far as freshmen go? And it seems like they have found a role for him now that will keep him on the field the majority of the time.
Yeah, I think we're at the point where I think it's fair to say he's the best freshman in the country, right? And I think he's reaching the point where he is one of the best linebackers or defensive players in the country. And of course, he's not complete. Like Kelly has almost gone like at lengths to be like, guys, just realize like we are only asking him to do 2 to 3 things, and he's just thriving at it. But like if you put him in let's pump the brakes a smidge, because if you asked him to be like go play inside linebacker, he probably couldn't do it right now. But he is just a freak talent-wise, where I think if you're just looking at ability to change a game, pure talent, he's one of the like 10 best players in the country at this point. It's scary what he could do, and he opens everything up. He makes B.J. Ojulari a better pass rusher. He makes and I think it's like he has the body and nimbleness of a safety, right? Like his ability to just kind of quickly dart around and chase people is more like a safety. So often when they have him out guarding the nickel, like that's not a mismatch. Or I mean, it is, but it's not much of one. And I think that's as much as we talk about the pass rush stuff and the ability to stop the run and the chasing and relentlessness, that is his superpower. But you can't do that. You can't do this thing where you have him and Ojulari both in the field if you can't also be like, go cover the slot receiver. And I think that's what's so incredible about Harold Perkins right now. And, like we said with these true freshman tackles, he's only going to get better. Same with Mason Taylor. And I think that's a huge part of why it's not even about the fact they're 7-2, which is incredible. It's about the fact they're 7-2 and their most exciting pieces are the future.
What's the challenge Saturday, both mentally and on the field?
Well, I think it's tough in so many ways because one, I think Arkansas is better than people realize. People see a 5-4 record and just think like they're bad, and it's like they have a tough game every single week. That schedule is it's one of the tougher schedules I've seen where it's like you don't have that many top 5 games, but every week's like a top 35 game. And I think those schedules are harder a lot of the time. And I think the main thing is that run game. KJ Jefferson, that offensive line, they are just physical and maul you, where it's like you might play good defense, but you can't tackle KJ Jefferson. That dude is a house. That is a Mississippi guy right there. So I think it's a tough matchup because you are facing an 11 a.m. game on the road, coming off this, quote unquote trap spot, and it's a physical team that's going to really beat you down. Like that's just a recipe for it being tricky. Yeah, LSU's better. And I think the thing that gives you optimism, though, is the other side of the ball, where LSU's offense is clicking and Arkansas's defense has just proven they can't really challenge you right now. The secondary is getting annihilated. Explosive plays are brutal. They're not blowing anything up at the line. They're not really like creating havoc at the line of scrimmage. That's going to benefit LSU. I think LSU's going to be able to run the ball and then set up play action all day. So I like LSU to win this at the end of the day, but you just have to be so careful because it's going to be a sleepy game against a really physical team that's going to get up for it.
Read the content over at The Athletic. Keep up with him on Twitter at Brody A. Miller. He's an insider for LSU football. He's the best. He's got great information. He's here every Wednesday. Thank you, bro. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Good luck. Keep up the great flag football work, man.
Thank you,
there
buddy.
you go. Come cover a game.
Thank you. That's right. I'll send you a schedule.
Yes, please do.
Later, man.
We have deadlines.
Brody A. Miller on Twitter. Get the subscription over at The Athletic. Katie and the crew, all of us, will be over at Citizens Bank tomorrow.
You and your crew mainly. Coach Kyle
You and your crew.
Kasky, Jacques, Jordy, DJ Kool-Aid, they'll all be there tomorrow, whoever DJ Kool-Aid
That's
is.
your guy.
It's going to be at the Perkins Road branch of Citizens Bank, so it's the one by Perkins Road across the street from Louisiana Lanyard. Tomorrow from 11 to 4, but let me suggest that you get there from 11:30 to 12:30 because Coach Kim Mulkey will be there with Alexis Morris.
Let's go.
Signing autographs, taking photos. You can donate. Each $20 donation enters you for drawing for 2 season tickets for LSU women's basketball. There's going to be food, drinks, music. Coach Kyle, I guess, is probably going to be doing a little clicker preview, maybe, for the game, something like that. Anyway, get there, 11 o'clock tomorrow, but make sure to be there between 11:30 and 12:30 for Coach Mulkey and Alexis Morris. It's going to be a great event, and the proceeds go to our veterans in support of Red Rock and Blue, which is Jacques' philanthropy.
Looking forward to it. Great work on putting that together, Katie. Citizens Bank and Trust tomorrow. That'll be over on Perkins Road. We'll be there from 11 a.m. Through the afternoon. And then, of course, as Katie said, 11:30 to 12:30, Coach Mulkey will be there with Alexis Morris as the LSU women are
On fire.
I mean, they are loaded, bro. They put
really
up 125 points last night.
It's amazing.
They're the Golden
So much
State
fun.
Warriors. You saw Angel Reesmaker debut, allowed 21. They're going to be fun to watch, man.
Yeah, they are.
They are going to be fun to watch. We'll be back with more of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Looking to book a dumpster but no idea how? We've made it quick and easy for you. Check out our website at moralesrolloffs.com. Let Morales Roll-Offs know your desired delivery date, and finally, provide your contact details. To make payment, look out for an email invoice with all your booking details. On delivery day, our driver will notify you through text and email that your dumpster is ready and on the way. Now you know how easy and convenient it is. Call Morales Roll-Offs at 225-427-0000 for your dumpster.
Hey Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go-Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
Don't let the name fool you. Men's Total Health has offerings for the ladies, too. Guys, is your wife or partner suffering from urinary incontinence, low sexual desire, or pain during sex? Then the O-Shot might be for her. Don't let it scare you. It's totally natural. It's PRP. And Mike Roach and the crew at Men's Total Health will make you as comfortable as you can be. Contact me for more information, Katie at JordyCulottaShow.com, and I'm happy to tell you everything that Men's Total Health has to offer for the ladies.
Do you suffer from chronic dehydration? Are you looking to improve your athletic performance and you need to get over and see our friends over at GoFlow IV? They're located on Jefferson Highway. Easy to find them online at GEAUXFlowIV.com. Make sure and use the promo code Jordy Culotta Show. If you do, they'll take 15% off of your initial visit. Check them out online, GEAUXFlowIV.com. I was embarrassed about my smile. Are you unhappy at yours? Do you not smile back at yourself? I called my friend, Dr. Spillers, over at Johnson Spillers. He fixed my smile, and now everywhere I go, people are complimenting it after the work that Dr. Spillers and the staff did to my mouth. They can do it to yours. Get in touch with them. JohnsonSpillers.com. 2 locations, one in Gonzales, one in Baton Rouge. Easy to find them, JohnsonSpillers.com. We love the crew over at Fresh Chef Kitchen. Chef Shane and his crew dropping off the meals every Monday here to FM Digital Media, whether it's breakfast, lunch, dinner. Me or the crew's going through our meals over at Fresh Chef Kitchen. Their weekly pre-order, freshly made meals, or you can walk into the cooler over there on Airline Highway. They have that fresh, same service over there at Fresh Chef Eats. FreshChefEats.com is where you can find them online. Fresh Chef Kitchen. Tell them you heard it right here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones.
but this opportunity was different. You have a chance to come to a place with unbelievable tradition, work for the winningest head coach in college football. Just be at a state. I've never been at a state where football's king, and if you just dominate your state, you're going to get some of the best players that there are.
Sure.
Yeah, so I think, getting through spring, I mean, most of it was obviously just installing the offense. And I think all four guys really made some strides in terms of that and showed a lot of positives. Obviously, which, you guys get to talk about all the time. So you guys,
Sure.
But all four have done a great job. They did. I think they really did a really nice job in spring of taking strides forward individually, and everybody's different in terms of what they need to get better at and what they need to show. And then move it into summer, and I love the way they're working right now in the weight room for Coach Flint. But like I said, I think spring a lot was everything was new for everybody. So especially at the beginning, there wasn't as much evaluation, say the first few days, get into the flow, and then I think we got some good opportunities for some guys to get some reps, and I think everybody showed some positives.
Hey, Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go-Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
We've seen the BK takeover stuff from LSU and social media, and really in his short time in Baton Rouge, there's been a lot of people embracing his approach to building this roster. What's it like to recruit alongside him?
Oh, it's been great. Coach has been awesome to me because he lets me be myself when it comes to recruiting, when it comes to coaching. He lets his coaches coach, lets his coaches recruit. So I have no complaints on that end. And when I need him to get in touch with a kid, he's there for me. The communication line has been great. He's just been nothing but supportive.
Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. As always, check our friends out on GAUXChevrolet.com. We'll be down in Laplace today, visiting with our crew, Lee Carney and Nick Richard, and I'm going to dip over to Katie's Restaurant over in New Orleans on Iberville in Mid-City. Get over to Katie's Restaurant and Bar over in New Orleans since 1984. A great menu, Katie.
Yeah, St. Louis style. Are you going to try the St. Louis style pizza? Because I'm really curious about what that is.
I don't know.
That's what they've been pushing. That's what they've been pushing.
I'm a pizza critic.
They literally have everything, though. Like, they can feed any picky eater. Their menu is incredible.
Katie'sInMidCity.com. Katie'sInMidCity.com. One of our favorites since 1984. Check them out if you're in the city. All right, our guy, John Stefanski, Representative Stefanski, made a huge announcement in early October as he is throwing his hat in the ring for a statewide office. He is putting in for the Louisiana Attorney General seat. He announced that in early October. Obviously, you know how we feel about our guy, but now he's taking on the state, and we're catching up with him. Huge sports time, as always, and it's good to see you, man. Good morning.
Yeah, as well. Thanks for having me on again, man. Been some busy days. Days. You talked about pizza. Give me what's your top 3 pizza places in Baton Rouge?
Top 3 since Fleur de Lis closed.
Oh yeah,
which was a staple, and they did change their product about a decade ago, which slid them down the spot. I would go
Changed
Red Zeppelin.
Product, but stayed
right.
I would go Red Zeppelin 1.
Portnoy went there. I saw that. Did the pizza review there. That's where he did the pizza review when he was in town.
7-3, I believe. 6-8. It was something around there.
Okay, not bad.
Yeah.
Said vibes are immaculate.
I'd go Roma.
Oh yeah.
here. Is it Rome?
I've never even had. Oh, Roca.
Roca.
No, I was like, I've never had Roma.
I was about to say.
Roca.
I thought you were.
Roca.
There's another Italian restaurant with Roma in the name.
Yeah,
and
there
that's
is.
I think it's
what
right
you were
next
talking
door to
about.
it.
I think there is too.
It's
There,
like right
I
next
have
door to
seen
it.
something like that. That's why I was like, I've never tried it.
And my third one is gonna blow your mind, and I'm sorry for this. It's lit pizza, bro.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like
Oh,
you
you're
can build,
you're an In-N-Out guy though.
you can build your own, and
It's
I mean,
a thin crust, and it's not
it's a
bad.
thin
And
crust.
it's hard to make. It's hard to make bad pizza.
Everything's
but-
in front of your
yeah,
face.
It's like the Subway of pizza,
I
but
get
actually good.
Yeah, and I figured out that I like banana peppers on my pizza.
Okay.
What you got?
No, Roca's been my number one for a little bit now.
Okay, what's the go-to at Roca? Because I got two.
They have a pesto pizza that I really
pesto's
like.
really
there.
good.
That one's pretty clutch. And then they have like a meat lovers kind of one.
Yeah. What's the one with the spinach and the prosciutto and the mozzarella called?
Is that the white pizza?
Maybe yes.
It's all white sauce.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
that thing
yes.
is good.
It's-
And those garlic knot
They're
things.
good though. That's a heavily underrated place.
It
There's
is.
not a lot of people talk about it, but that's one of my go-tos. It's,
And the
it's
cocktails
right
are
here.
great.
Cocktails are awesome. They have a cool little bar. I told them if their bar was bigger, they probably would have a pretty serious.
Every
crowd.
time you
Yeah.
pass by it on government, you look in. They got people at that bar, man.
Yeah.
Hey, Courtney family strikes again.
I know,
That's
brother.
right.
That was your
That's
that
right.
was your
Oh,
spot.
Sean.
That was your spot.
Don't
Got
sleep
him to
on
Chicago.
City Slice though. City Slice
Slice?
is an excellent
City
pizza.
Slice is good.
Very good.
What's the one right there next to Chimes? What's that one?
That's City
it.
Slice.
City
That's City Slice.
Yeah.
Okay, that one's good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there a couple times.
It's great.
But yeah,
What are you gonna do here, bro? Because you're about to start traveling the state. How you
This
gonna
is
stay-
this is why you came here.
How are you? Yeah,
Hey,
no.
but I mean,
Really,
this
I'm
is-
gonna keep it on that lines. How are you gonna keep in shape? Like, I mean, like your diet. You're gonna
Yeah.
be like,
No,
you're gonna be
it's
living out of a
tough.
hotel, right?
Yeah, so it's I actually went out and bought a car. I drive a truck that's not conducive to travel in the state, and so went out and bought something else to kind of travel in. Look, it's a daunting experience, man. It's a little intimidating. You got to travel. You got to go throughout the whole state. I got elected with 44,000 people. So state rep seats are very, very small. This is the entire state. You got to be prepared for that mentally and physically. You try to eat healthy. You try to get as much sleep as you can. That's the biggest thing. It's sleep. Trying to get as much sleep as you can. You have to sacrifice maybe your regular workout schedule and things like that. But look, I'm excited about a new challenge. It's really kind of what it comes down to. Number one, it's going to be an open seat, so you have to kind of in politics pick your spots. And so every person that I've ever talked to that I've trusted who's been in politics, around politics, talks about timing. It's all about timing. Don't force something; it has to be right. And with this being an open seat, me feeling like I've done a lot of great work in the legislature and made a ton of great contacts around the state, it just feels like the timing is right for this. And then me personally, I'm hitting that point to where I'm just ready for a new challenge. That's a position also that, being a lawyer, look, a small town kid being a lawyer, that position of attorney general is just something that would, kind of be a dream job to me.
Sure.
And so obviously that's very attractive. And then thirdly, you talk about doing the job, and we have a lot of issues in this state. One of them being crime. Crime has just gotten out of control, especially violent crime throughout this state. And in that position, you can do a lot of good. You can really support law enforcement from that position. You can support the district attorneys around this state. And so that's definitely something I would be looking to do, as well as just having a very, very professional staff, go out and recruit like the best and the brightest around the country, not just in the state,
Right
to
here,
be in that
Coach.
office. Yeah. and no, but man, and really have, I'd love when people think of that office to think about it like the feds. When the feds are coming and the feds are working on a case, everybody runs for cover, because they have that kind of reputation. And I think we should be up to that same standard. Not that we are now. It's nothing negative about the current administration who's in there. It's just my vision for what that office could be would be great. And so, yeah, it's got a year. It's not till next year. We just got done with election night last night. We'll have some runoffs, but going throughout the whole next year, I'll be traveling the state. I kind of did that with redistricting, though.
Right.
Similar to what we talked about. I traveled all over the state. I met with all kind of people in different venues all around the state doing redistricting. And so this would be piggybacking off of that, utilizing a lot of those contacts, utilizing a lot of the contacts and relationships I built in the legislature. The cool thing about being a state rep, there's 104 just like me all across the state. that I've been able to develop those relationships with, and so they've been very supportive. The state senators as well, and so gonna attack this thing the only way I know how, which is 100%, and hope for the best.
What was the advantage of traveling the state for redistricting? Is that where you kind of got the bug? Is that where you kind of caught it?
I think, when you get into politics, you start looking around. It's one of those things you look around and you go, hey, what other spots do I think I would be good at? Because, look, being somebody just I always put my citizen hat back on, sitting in Crowley, just looking and watching all these other people. And you don't know really what they do. You don't really have a firm grasp what the Attorney General does, the Lieutenant Governor, the Secretary of State. If you had asked me before I got elected what those people do, I think, like most Louisiana citizens, there's not much they can tell you. Being in that realm, you learn what all these jobs entail. You learn what they do, and so I looked around and said, AG is one of those spots that I know I could do the job, and it's just about, would that be something that I would want to throw my hat in the ring, and so it feels right. I'm content with the decision. You never want to talk like this, but I mean, win or lose, I really am. I'm just like, hey, look, it's a great opportunity, and look, I'm a beast on the campaign trail, man. I eat, sleep, and breathe it once I get involved, and so that's how it's going to be.
Holy shit! The tickets I'm going to hit you up for.
You mean it's gonna get worse?
What's the Super Bowl 2024? You got to get this son of a bitch in.
Can he help me earlier? I got January 1 coming up.
You remember those Final Four tickets, right?
Hey man, no, look, that's something funny. I told somebody that the other day. We got a bunch of local races going on in Crowley, and somebody asked me the other day, was asking me for help for something. And I said, look, I don't forget my friends. I don't. I think loyalty is one of those qualities that it ranks at the top of the list to me.
Yeah.
And so very appreciative for the exposure you've been able to get me to come over here and do. Love being on your show, and definitely, man. Let me know how I can help. Let me know how I can help.
Rotolo's inside of the chat. That's disrespectful,
super
Jordy.
Awkward. Super awkward.
You got me, Mitch. You know I love you, brother. You know I love you. You know I love you. Huge time for sports right now, bro. I mean, this is kind of like the perfect mix of, you got basketball cranking up, you got NBA that's been going for a month, you got college football in the teeth of it, NFL's moving. I know you're a huge sports fan. What's capturing you right now?
We're still on the high of LSU. I think that's just the reality of that tremendous win and being in that stadium and experiencing that. Definitely one of my top 3 moments in Tiger Stadium for sure.
Rattle those off.
Well, I mean, look, that Tebow game with Hester. I mean, that was I was there. It was every fourth down, it felt louder and louder and louder, and so that one's up there. This one's up there. Just a few years ago, that Georgia win was big because we didn't expect it. I think.
2018.
Yeah, what was funny? I was thinking about this the other night. So in the other games I've been to where we rushed the field, there was always a hesitancy. Like the cops would try to give it their best effort. There was no hesitancy on this one. I mean, it was like the cops were like, there's no way we can stop it. The fans, as soon as it got announced, were jumping over.
Did you go out there?
No, I didn't. Look, and I've been on the field before. Younger me's been out there.
Sure.
And my hesitancy is always, I've heard some horror stories about what happens on the field, especially with the other team trying to get off.
Especially, they got Jermaine Burton out there. Anything could happen.
But I mean, that's the kind of stuff always runs through my head. I'm like, I've been lucky enough to sit in some pretty decent seats. I was
risk
right
reward.
Risk reward was there. But look, great sports time. LSU, we got LSU basketball starting up. I got to say it, I'm just not as excited as last year. Our guy's gone, I mean, and I think the excitement he built up around that program, talking about Wade, obviously, it's something I'm hoping the new coach can build up. But I'm still excited. I'm still going to continue to be a huge basketball fan.
How much is Capitol Hill paying attention to the investigation now?
I mean, you don't hear a peep about it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It went from being like LSU's going to get the death penalty in basketball to now like I haven't heard anything about it. Like, boy, the LSU, they got a couple more recruits. And it's
Matt McMahon's something.
Yeah, Matt McMahon's got a hell of a program. It's just like it's gone.
Vanished.
Yeah, because one of the questions I had for Matt when he was coming in was how much did the whole investigation around Wade play into your decision to take the job? That was one of the questions I had kind of asked him. And obviously it was a relevant concern to him and to the program at the time. But now It's just like you mentioned. You don't hear a peep about it.
Ever.
But I'm excited for that. Women's basketball, obviously, look, they look
Loaded.
like they're about to be world beaters. They look like they are about to, like,
Take the sport over.
people.
125 points. I don't care who you're playing.
No.
Yeah.
Is 125
Nuts.
points.
So women's basketball, I'm excited about. My Pelicans, obviously. Look, we got off to a really good start. 2-0. And then, man, we've had some bad luck. So we played 3 overtime games so far. I think we're the only team that's played 3 overtime games. We've lost all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's bad luck. It is. I mean, and their defense is not where it needs to be. The past couple games, they have not looked good on the defensive end. Zion, I honestly, he played really bad to start the season on defense. He's picked it up a little bit better. But some of the other guys, I don't know. He's Will Green, their coach, has to pick up their rotations and get a lot better on the defensive end if they want to win basketball games, because they can score with anybody.
They're very fragile with them. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
it seems like they're, you know what it seems? It seems like an over-reliance on the offensive end to me right now with them.
One-dimensional.
Yeah, very much so. They know they can always go to BI to get a bucket. Zion and ISO kicking it out to get a bucket. But if they don't pick up their defense, I think we're looking at a 500 team versus where we had a lot of great expectations.
So are you able to get back to your personal law life during this time? Like, I mean, do you
It's
ever
tough,
do you
yeah.
ever unplug as a politician?
Yeah, definitely unplug. Look, I love to hunt and fish, and we got duck season that's open up Saturday. So I mean, I unplug. Yes, you got to be able to take some downtime. But I mean, the difficult thing about, especially about being in the legislature in Louisiana, it's a part-time job, and so you have to find that work politics balance, because the reality, that the constituents don't really want to hear about is that, the job we're in pays zero money. I mean, it pays, you can go look, it's public record, it pays $16,000 a year.
Oh, Jordy, that's zero money?
And hey, when you factor in travel and all that, it is, man, you're at a net loss. But my point being, it's a part-time job that demands, in some instances, 100% of your time. And so you have to find that balance. You have to say, hey, look, I have to turn off politics for a little while and go back and work my job. I'm an attorney. I practice law with my dad. And if you're not there, you're not making money. So, yeah, you have to find that balance. Now, look, I'll honestly, over the next year, I'll practice very little law. This is going to be mainly 100% politics, because look, if you're going to run for something, do it right and put 100% of your time in, and I'm willing to make the sacrifices to do that, and hoping for the best result. But yeah, as far as downtime though, yeah, look, I'm human, and I'm gonna hunt and fish and go watch LSU games when I can make it and stuff like that, and enjoy my off time.
So when does it actually kick off?
Well, I mean, we're not in the thick of it, but I mean, by next summer, you'll know what the field is. Qualifying's not till July, but I'll know who everybody that's running. You'll have all the statewide elected races next year. So we're going to have governor and lieutenant governor, secretary of state, all the legislative races, a lot of judicial races. The election we had last night was all the congressmen ran, one of our U.S. senators ran, and then a lot of local mayoral races and city council races. That's what we just had last night. But next year is really going to be about the statewide races and all the parish by parish kind of stuff. All the sheriffs are on the ballot, all the clerks and assessors. So next year's a huge election year. But yeah, I'll be in the thick of it next year, and really and really traveling everywhere and trying to make as many events as you have, and then the money, man. Nobody talks about how much money it takes to do these races.
I bet.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, this is.
Have you started fundraising?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Already, I guess
your announcement was kind of like the beginning of the campaign, right?
The announcement is really kind of like, hey, I've made up my mind. There's no going back. Once you make the decision mentally, and then you talk with your family, you talk with your friends, and you're like, no, this is the right move. This is what we're gonna do. Then I mean, why wait? Why wait until the beginning of the year or sometime next spring? Hey, I'm running. Let's full speed ahead and let's go after it. And so the announcement was kind of just to tell everybody, hey, look, I'm definitely doing it. I also got tired of answering that question. So you're actually going to run, or you're not going to run? Right. That kind of got annoying too. So I'm 100% in. I'm running. And then immediately after that, you start following up with fundraisers throughout the state, because it takes so much money. And the reason it takes so much money is, as a candidate, I cannot touch and be in as many places to get the votes to win. You can't. So what you have to do is you have to rely on media in order to be able to do that. You know well about media.
Mm-hmm.
You have to rely on that in order to be able to win. And the only way you can get media is you have to buy it. And so it takes a lot of money to buy the media in order to be able to get your message out to people in order to be able to get elected.
Right.
Because, 9 times out of 10, people are going to vote for the person that they know, that they've heard about. That's who people are going to vote for. And the unfortunate reality is just there's not enough hours in the day. You have to buy that type of exposure, and it's very, very expensive. I mean, TV advertising is unbelievably expensive, but even your mail, even your print media is just very, very expensive.
Yeah, and they jack up those political rates, man.
Oh yeah, no, it's crazy. Yeah, it really is. It really is. But no, look, it's going to be exciting. It's an exciting time to be in Louisiana. I think we got a great sports calendar coming up.
Yeah.
What's LSU going to do on Saturday?
I think
11 a.m. game?
I said this is where Kelly shows his value more than he did last Saturday night. I think being prepared and like having a 4-quarter controlling type game over a team that you're better than is really kind of why you have him here, to win the games that you're supposed to in the ways that you're supposed to.
Mentally for the players, I'm sure it's very difficult because they're sitting there and they're going, we know we can lose one game and probably still make it to the SEC championship.
Which is nuts.
But how do those players get over that and wake up for an 11 a.m. game? And it's going to be cold. I've been up there for an Arkansas late season game. It's freezing. It is. It's very cold in that stadium too, the way the wind comes down. And so, if those players can get up and be ready to play on Saturday, I think, hey, could turn into a special season. Who knows?
Yeah, could be, man.
Who knows?
It's crazy to see what they could – what's out there for them.
So,
it's still out there for them is feasible that they could be in the Final Four.
Exactly. So if we run the table, what do you think? You think
they beat Georgia and they're the SEC champ, there's no way that they can leave them out. Just the SEC title alone, I don't think in this day and age you can leave out of a Final Four.
Yeah.
Right? And if you beat Georgia at that point, your resume is really good. You know what I mean? Brody Miller brought up a great point in his last article. What if they run the Mason Taylor play against Florida State rather than kick the field goal?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you just win by one there, and what does your season look like? Maybe doesn't look that different, but you've got that one win. But at this point, people are selling it to you publicly as LSU's lost to Florida State, kind of like it didn't matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Kind of was like irrelevant because they're so much different now and more trusted to the public.
No, and look, we didn't get that excuses are like everything. You can come up with a million excuses, but we didn't get that warm-up game, but no, you're exactly right. If they run that 2-point conversion there instead of going for that, hey, it's a different game. But no, look, it's exciting. It's exciting to be an LSU football fan for a season that I thought we were just going to kind of, hey, we got to sit tight and wait for the recruits to get here. It's cool. I think it's going to pay great dividends on the recruiting trail, and I'm excited.
I think they close out 3-0.
Really?
I really do. I think that, if you've heard Burrow speak about 2019, he says when they pulled out of Tuscaloosa, nobody was ever beating us again. There was no way that was the game that we thought if we were going to be vulnerable, that's the night we could have got.
Prove it to ourselves.
Right? But when you left there, you were like, holy shit, we're really, really good. You know what I mean? I think that what that team did mentally, and there's some clips that you can find on this LSU Gold account of Kelly addressing the team afterwards, and the trust and buy-in he builds in that moment. He kind of says to him, to the 2-point conversion, I wasn't going to let anybody else choose on who wins the game.
Yeah.
Right?
No, look, it's
I
powerful.
trust you guys, and you can see them. This as a leader. You can see them we're in.
We're all in.
We're in.
Yeah,
we're in.
in.
And there's nothing more dangerous than a team that believes. And they believe.
And I was like a lot of fans. I was skeptical and surprised he was going for it. I think most of us were. And it was because, I always watched the line of scrimmage. We were dominating the line of scrimmage. We really were. That was one of the first LSU Alabama games I've seen to where we really were controlling the game. You know, they were making big plays just to be able to catch up, it felt like. And so I was like, oh, look, we're just going to wear them down on these overtimes and they're not going to be able to beat us. But you can't disagree with what Kelly said, which is basically, hey, if you told me I got one shot to beat Alabama and it's on us, hey, I'll take it.
One shot, one chance.
And then look, we can't let the refs, man. We couldn't let the refs.
Is that crazy?
As wild as it is to say, I do think that played a factor. Is like they're not giving us anything here. I'm just going to take
it. They're about to take it from us.
And that's why the students storm the field so fast. We cannot reviewing this. Somebody's still stealing the pylon.
We're not giving them a chance.
We're out of here.
Yeah,
y'all go to the tunnel.
And you know that has to factor in when they're
100%.
thinking, hey, we need to replay this. And it's like, there's no chance we could even go backwards if this
it's over after this.
It's over.
It's unreal.
They've taken
No
over
doubt.
the field. You know,
the referees
it's ours
were
now.
sprinting.
It had to be.
It's awesome.
I saw a kid with one of those little cameras that they use to review stuff. He was running around with that. So, no, I'm kidding. But that's what they needed to take away.
They did.
That little camera that they just look into the box.
Yes.
Like, what are we looking at?
Right. Whatever
it's up
they were
there.
looking at.
It's up there.
He didn't tip it. Say what?
Yeah, watch me enhance.
Hey, and look, it's 3, and like you talked about, if we do run the table, I mean, to me, this is one of the most convincing things for that selection committee to consider. It's 3 away games, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have 2 away games
In UAB.
And UAB, yeah. But I mean, I'm hoping. Look, if we don't take, if we don't take
I
care
think
of
Walker
business
Howard
this
plays
year-
that night.
You do?
I think so. I mean,
And
UAB
so
night.
if we take care of business, we have 2 away games, and then in Atlanta, that's an away game. I mean, you're in Georgia, you're playing Georgia, that's an away game. And so if you can win 3 away games like that in a row, all SEC games, to me, I'm with you. I don't see how they keep us out. And then I guess Georgia would get.
Yeah, man.
Georgia would get.
I think
heavy.
Georgia's in.
You do?
Like right now, I think
Okay.
they're in. I mean, I think that they're. I mean, like if you saw last night, they're unanimous number 1.
Oh yeah,
You know
the
what I
way
mean?
they took care of Tennessee though. I mean, because everybody was on the Tennessee bandwagon. Not everybody, but I mean
Yeah.
a lot of people were on the Tennessee bandwagon. This is their year. It's one of those magical seasons. I got tired of seeing the Burrow comparisons.
Oh.
You know, they kept throwing the Burrow and the LSU
2019
comparisons up. It's like
The numbers were comparable through it, the amount of games, but I mean, like, what do your eyeballs tell you? You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, this isn't. This isn't the same thing.
no, we were. I mean, in 19, I mean, I love talking about 19, but we were running people off the field.
Running
I mean,
people off the field.
Yeah, it was
And
no one
playing
could-
everybody.
Playing everybody.
Playing
Nobody
everybody.
can keep up with us.
Playing
We're running
everybody.
people off field. So yeah, exciting for sports. You know, exciting to watch these next few LSU games, and then politics. We had a kind of a dead night last night. It was really all the incumbents won.
Yeah.
There's nothing really surprising.
Right.
All the congressmen won heavily in their races. John Kennedy won outright against like 12 challengers, and so it's
Who does
hard.
his media?
It's hard to beat incumbents.
Who does his media?
He's got a bunch of people. So first of all, there's not one person. Look,
What do y'all think about that
All
inner
right,
circle? Is that
that's-
brilliant or is that?
Look, that's all Kennedy. First of all,
No.
So Kennedy, that's
Call the
all.
crackhead.
That's
Call the
all
crackhead.
Kennedy's stuff. Now Kennedy is an extremely smart guy.
Yeah.
Like Rhodes Scholar, extremely smart. So what you're seeing, isn't necessarily, it's
Who the person?
who
Yeah,
the
it's a
person
little
is,
bit of
all
a
right?
game.
But
That's good to
Kennedy drives his own ship. He really does. He's one of those candidates that you're not going to tell me what to say. And
Well, I mean, that's
do,
kind of who he
you
is
know.
on the floor.
Yeah,
You know
it
what I mean?
is.
Like, if
No,
you
it
see-
is. And so, I mean, I think a lot of what you're seeing, I'm not going to discredit. I'm sure he has an excellent team, and I know some of his team members, and they're giving him advice. He's got a production team, and they're setting him up and telling him to do this and do that. But at the end of the day, Kennedy's driving that ship,
Yeah.
and that's really him. And look, I think, his bluntness is just what a lot of Louisiana wants to hear.
Yeah.
And
It's almost refreshing in this day and age.
yeah, I mean, he says what he wants. And look, when you travel outside of Louisiana, everybody, like if I say I'm in politics and I leave Louisiana, Kennedy's the first name that comes
That's
up
crazy.
out of everybody. Like nationally, everybody knows who he is. And then so you have Kennedy, but then we also have Steve Scalise here in Louisiana. Steve Scalise is one of the most powerful politicians in this country.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, Steve is the deal maker for this country. And so, I mean, Louisiana, from a state that needs so much help, we really do. I mean, we need help with our coast. We constantly are trying to fight for dollars to help rebuild our coast, to really help rebuild our infrastructure. Having guys like that fighting for us is, whether you believe in their politics or not, the fact that they've been able to accumulate so much influence and power in Washington is incredibly beneficial here in Louisiana. So, Busy year, man, and,
Nice,
and as always, thanks for having me on. And look, let's root for our Pelicans, man. We're 500 now. We need to hopefully then go on a little run and
Plenty of time.
NBA's long season. I don't start paying attention until Christmas.
Yeah, we need the Lakers to keep losing.
Yeah,
all right, so we can get Wembanyama.
Love that.
And we need the Pelicans to keep winning so we can make the playoffs again.
Be honest, he's a freak.
That is so. I've seen those skinny tweener kind of players like that before that you're like, this guy looks like Kevin Durant, but souped up.
Yes.
I mean, he shoots like Durant did coming out of high school and coming out of where did Durant go? Texas.
Texas.
Yeah. He has that Durant look, but he has a physicality to him that's a little bit different. So I mean, he looks extremely special. I mean, that the team that gets that guy is going to build a roster. And could you imagine if a team like in the Pelicans kind of space got
you
him,
have Zion and him,
and Bi and all the other guys we have? It could be pretty
He is
cool.
a freakishly looking prospect. All right, Johnny, we got your back, bro. Looking forward to the next year of your life, man. Thank you for stopping in and giving us a little insight, and we'll be along the way, man.
No, thank you so much for that. And as always, anybody looking to find more information, I got to give a little plug.
Please do.
VoteStefanski.com. Go on the website. Got all the information if you want to help out or if you just want to learn more about me or what the heck the Attorney General's office does. Go on there. Looking forward to it.
Bring us some shirts and some yard signs.
Yeah, I'll bring some swag for sure. Yeah, we'll get some swag. Y'all have built up your swag.
Yeah.
Hey, one thing I was going to tell you, are we ever going to do like a reunion show back at the old spot?
Oh, that would be cool.
That would be
cool. Little Jay's taking over his little PlayStation. He
can stay there.
I mean,
We'll just
we can do it. Yeah, it would be tight. I don't know.
Really could. What's the
I don't know if
difference?
Kelly would like that. The crew's back at 6 o'clock in the morning again. Right.
People parked all over.
She'd wake up. Lloyd be in the kitchen making breakfast.
5:15. I'm here.
Good to see you. VoteStefanski.com. We'll be back and close it out here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Voicemails tomorrow.
You ought to do that though. Reunion.
Donaldsonville Glass and Body, the trusted name in frame, body, and automotive paint repair since 1977. They have served their customers for over 45 years. You can find them online at dgbauto.com or stop in and see them Railroad Avenue and Division Street out in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Look, they can help you with your insurance claims. They can make the repair process as stress-free as possible. I'm speaking from experience here. I've got numerous windshields, body repair, all done by Kenny and the crew over at Donaldsonville Glass and Body. They are, without question, the most well-equipped shop in the area. Stop in and see them today. Shop them online, dgbauto.com, or stop in and see the crew over in Division Street in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Donaldsonville Glass and Body. Hey fellas, it's Jordy Culotta for my friends over at Men's Total Health. Guys, do you suffer from fatigue, decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, weight gain or loss of muscle mass, signs of depression, anxiety, hair loss, mental fog, general loss of interest? Then you might be suffering from low testosterone. Go see my friend Mike Roach and his great team over at Men's Total Health, over in Metairie at menstotalhealth.net online. And stop in and see how they can change your life today. A simple shot and some knowledge from Mike Roach can get you back up, moving with your energy, get your sex drive back, build your muscle mass, make you feel young again. All online, menstotalhealth.net. Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz. I was embarrassed about my smile. Are you unhappy at yours? Do you not smile back at yourself? I called my friend, Dr. Spillers, over at Johnson & Spillers. He fixed my smile, and now everywhere I go, people are complimenting it after the work that Dr. Spillers and the staff did to my mouth. They can do it to yours. Get in touch with them. JohnsonSpillers.com. 2 locations, one in Gonzales, one in Baton Rouge. Easy to find them, JohnsonSpillers.com. We love the crew over at Fresh Chef Kitchen. Chef Shane and his crew dropping off the meals every Monday here to FM Digital Media, whether it's breakfast, lunch, dinner. Me or the crew's going through our meals over at Fresh Chef Kitchen. Their weekly pre-order, freshly made meals, or you can walk into the cooler over there on Airline Highway. They have that fresh, same service over there at Fresh Chef Eats. FreshChefEats.com is where you can find them online. Fresh Chef Kitchen. Tell them you heard it right here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. Southern Eye Center is located at 6859 Jefferson Highway right here in Baton Rouge, has been serving your eyes for over 40 years in the capital region. They offer friendly service in a helpful environment with the highest level of personal care to manage your eye health and vision needs. If you want more information, log online to southerneyecenters.com. That is southerneyecenters.com. Stop in and check out their beautiful office located on Jefferson Highway right here in the capital city. And remember, each time you walk in there and you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, Dr. Ann Shaw and Southern Eye Centers will take 25% off of their fantastic selection of sunglasses. All you got to do is mention the Jordy Culotta Show. Check them out. SouthernEyeCenters.com and located at 6859 Jefferson Highway.
Looking to book a dumpster but no idea how? We've made it quick and easy for you. Check out our website at moralesrolloffs.com. Let Morales Rolloffs know your desired delivery date, and finally, provide your contact details. To make payment, look out for an email invoice with all your booking details. On delivery day, our driver will notify you through text and email that your dumpster is ready and on the way. Now you know how easy and convenient it is. Call Morales Rolloffs at 225-427-0000 for your dumpster.
We're all from different places and backgrounds. We've each experienced our own versions of life, but in the end, we're all on the same team. I'm part of that team, along with these players in purple and gold.
Kayshawn Buddha, Malik Neighbors, Miles Frazier,
Kyron Lacey, Greg Brooks. Whether on the field or in the courtroom, your team matters.
So join our team. Make a difference. Bet. Let's get it done.
Hey, Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez.
Bam. Here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Ghost Chevrolet, live here on this Wednesday. Appreciate Representative Stefanski for stopping by, Jacques Doucet earlier in the show, and Brody Miller, as we didn't get to a lot of our call-ins, voicemails.
Can we do it
but yeah, let's do
tomorrow?
some voicemails. You got,
I want people to call.
People are going to want to call and talk about
people can
Bama.
call tomorrow. Everybody
Okay.
chill out. Everybody
All right. I
calm
just
down,
hate to
calm
miss it.
down,
I
for
like when
God's
people
sakes.
interact with
You
us.
bully?
No, I'm not.
About everything.
I
JV.
hate to miss it. I hate to miss
Bobbing and
everybody.
weaving.
She's on drugs.
I'm not. Amped up.
Give me some voicemail.
Okay. I'll give you some voicemail.
Now.
Now. How do I do it?
And we went hard on Larry because he said I was notoriously late, but he was talking about my shirt. I feel bad.
Oh, Larry.
I feel so bad.
Larry, that's a great
Larry.
reference.
I apologize to him in
Larry.
the chat, but Larry, I'm sorry. We missed that.
Isn't that the kid's name in The Big Lebowski?
I think, yes,
Larry?
it definitely
Yeah.
is.
Larry, this is what happens.
That movie just gets unhinged.
What does
So
Larry
good.
fuck with? This is what happens when you fuck with.
He left his homework and they
Yeah,
took the
this is
bag
when
of
you
money.
fuck with- yeah.
Yeah, didn't he? Or he
Larry?
touched his car.
Larry!
Yeah.
Do you see what you're doing to your father?
Yeah. It's your fault.
It's like, she's got the machines.
See what you're doing to your father?
Larry, you're killing your father.
All right, we'll get to a first voicemail.
Is that your car out there, Larry? Is that your car?
Is this your homework? Do you want to do?
Watch out that window, Larry.
Some from Wednesday.
This is what happens, Larry.
This is what happens.
This is what happens.
You're killing your father.
This is what happens when you fuck with another man's. What does he say? It's so great, dude. The best part of that movie is when the dude and Walter Sobchak go to meet the guy for the bag delivery, and Sobchak takes over the wheel and handles it like it's a Desert Storm mission. Jumps out of the car and the AK sprays in the street.
I met the real dude, or the
Jeffrey?
the dude. I think so. I think he was
Oh, you
here
can't
at
say it like
Chelsea's.
that.
No,
Jeffrey.
I have backup. Brett Lofton was with me, Kim and Stuart Gilly, and we took a picture with him. I don't
what
know
a
where
bunch of
that
squares you
picture
were with.
is.
Yeah.
It was fun, and I don't know how
What's
we
his
knew
name?
it was
He's very,
him.
very talented.
Bridges.
Jeff
well,
Bridges.
I'm not talking about Jeff Bridges. I'm talking about the guy that the dude was based on,
No.
like real life guy.
No, you can't.
No.
Yeah, you can. There's no way you
Everybody
can corroborate
has
that
one of them
story.
in their
mean?
circle.
No.
Everybody's got the real life dude.
Call Brett
I know the
Lofton.
I know the real
swear
life
we
dude.
did.
Absolutely.
I swear
In
we
fact,
did.
I know 3 of them.
I swear we did. We took a picture.
Rob
with him. It was
Seifert, are you
awesome.
still out there?
Couch guy.
Big couch guy. DJ Rob.
I met
The
John,
dude.
John Goodman's daughter. I went to a party at her house in
Oh,
New
yeah?
Orleans. Yeah.
Cool.
Got
Cool story.
I think we got. Well, I was about to
Met the real
say
dude.
they said.
Remember
well,
that time?
That's not true. Yeah. No. What happened with John Goodman's daughter is
You made out with her?
No, she
Yeah, you
the opposite.
did.
I got kicked out. They didn't want it
Boy
to be
got us kicked
known
out.
that she was John Goodman's daughter. She was trying to do her own thing. She was going to USC for film school. It's like, oh yeah, real hard for. They're gonna know your last name's Goodman, whatever. So they didn't want to do any John Goodman references. So what I did was I pulled up the laptop and I pulled up the Brother Where Art Thou scene where he catches the flag and does all that, and she was like, "Get the fuck out of my house!" And I was like, "All right, goodbye."
Lord, you dickhead. I'm taking one phone call today. One phone call only. Hunter Hall, call in.
Oh yes.
Ooh, Hunter, yeah, because we missed him last
Hunter,
time.
call
We
right
missed
now.
him
He's got
last time.
he's got welled up eyes in the chat like he
Sweet
wants to
Hunter
cry.
Hall.
Hunter, let us know. Call us. Do you know his number?
It's oh yes.
We know.
What's
We gotta
Tuscaloosa's
program
area
him
code?
in.
666.
Oh, Hunter Hall got a voicemail from us. I mean, got a text in from the show. #mailbag sucking Hunter Hall yesterday at 8:45 in the morning.
Who said that?
I don't know. Just a
sucking
number.
Hunter
Sucking
Fournette
Hunter
said
Hall.
that. Hunter Fournette had to
Great,
have said
that's
that.
Yeah,
great.
probably
For sure.
so.
Hit me with a voicemail until we wait for Hunter to call. I mean, or for
Oh, it was Hunter Fournette.
No, for,
I knew it. I told you it was Hunter Fournette.
for
I got
Hunter
a
Hall to
voicemail.
call.
205. Hunter Hall said the area code's 205. Hunter, you're here. Call us. Or don't make us call you.
Oh well,
Look
looking
for 205 on there, Lloyd.
There's a 504. This is Jeff and Kenner, no doubt.
Totally.
Is this a voicemail?
This is a call. We're not taking it.
No, we're only
Have to
taking
hang
one
out.
phone
Yeah,
call today.
yeah.
Let him go to voicemail. Send him to
Yep.
voicemail. Leave a voicemail,
We're
Jeff.
only taking calls from area code 205.
I wish you would just call in.
T-Town.
T-Town. Paul.
Back
Did y'all listen
Tuscaloosa.
to Paul
Yes,
on Monday?
So good.
Wait, did you see Reese?
Serenity
did you see
Now.
And Nick's,
Davis?
Did
he's
you hear
losing
that
it,
guy?
Paul.
Did
Nick's
you hear the
losing it.
Serenity Now guy?
He
Yeah,
said
this
it.
Worm down again from Gonzales.
Oh, word.
Yeah, I meant Cole Taylor, bro. Cole Taylor is he pretty good. And when it comes down to catching the ball, now Mason Taylor, to me, in my opinion, I feel like he way too young. And he ain't really a good blocker at all neither. But he can catch the ball. I feel like we force the ball to him too much. Maybe Brian wants him to be that guy or something. I don't know. But I truly, honestly feel that Cole Taylor would be more of a threat. Like, come on, man, what this dude, like 6'8"? He's like 6'8", 280, like over the middle. Come on, all day. They not giving it to him enough. Like, you gotta, if you got the weapons, use them. You know.
You left that on Wednesday.
On Wednesday?
He left it last Wednesday, and I thought that would be a good one to bring back.
That was tough for him.
That's
hilarious.
That's what you call freezing cold take.
No, I meant Cole Taylor.
Yeah, and I'm a double down. Mace Taylor too young, man. Can't block, can't catch.
That's a bad one.
Gets the ball too
all right, we got a
much.
voicemail. Cordell said he left a voicemail.
No, absolutely. I got a couple.
Hit him.
Go, motherfucking Tiger!
And that's it. Oh, perfect segue.
205.
Is it Hunter Hall?
This is Hunter Hall.
Yay.
Hunter.
Hey, Hunter.
Hunter.
Hunter, thanks for the M&Ms.
Hey.
That was
We're
really
mailing
nice.
them back, Hunter. You prick. We're rolling them back on my back. I mean, yeah, I weigh 260 now.
The rum's gone.
Hunter, what was your experience like in Baton
Let
Rouge?
me start off by saying this isn't how I imagined we would cash that LSU over 6.5 ticket, but here we are.
Here we are.
What was the experience like on the other side, on the dark side?
Well, I found myself at a crossroads here in Alabama on Sunday, and just have to wait and see how it all plays out. Alabama, they got the lead 4 times on offense Saturday night, and yet they never ran an offensive play with the lead. The defense feels like the killer mindset's been lost, and that's a problem. I mean, LSU, they played a near-perfect game, and Alabama wasn't close, and, hey, they got physically whipped. Caskey last week, he said that the Alabama offense is very predictable. They're not trying to trick you, and they're very proud of what they do, and they're just asking you to stop it. And LSU did. You got Gibbs that's got he's averaging under 13 carries a game, and he gets 6 yards a carry. And I know Alabama's offensive line isn't a bunch of maulers, but like we've had in the past. But hey, 13 carries with that guy isn't enough. And then you got Bryce, who's amazing, but he's got a below-average receiving corps, and he's third in the conference in pass attempts, and he sat out a game and a half this year. So, Bill O'Brien, what are you doing? But at the end of the day, hey, you're 2 plays away from being 9-0, but you're 2 plays away from being 5-4.
Oof.
What is the Tiger Droppings equivalent in T-Town? What message boards do I need to go to see the
Take me
bells?
to the secluded room in the psych ward of Tuscaloosa right
Yes.
now. Who wants to kill Nick Saban?
Buy him out.
Hey, basketball season tipped off on Monday.
We're on to basketball.
You're a basketball school
I'm
now.
not looking forward to that Citrus Bowl in Orlando on with no Gibbs, Anderson, or Bryce Young. So,
Do you think anybody opts out before the year ends?
after the Auburn game, I think there's enough pride down there to try to take care of Auburn. But
I've been there, Hunter. It's a long road. Don't worry, you'll get through it.
hey, you got to give credit to LSU and Brian Kelly. I mean, I've been making comparisons to Saban's first year all year, and this kind of is where that mindset. You go through a little adversity, and those team meetings that LSU had in September and October looked like they paid off. So,
Go ahead.
They've got things going in the right direction down there, and you think about Kirby. I mean, Saban's not going to go anywhere. He's got some changes he's got to make, but hey, changes are happening.
But everybody's secure on Saban, right? Nobody really losing their mind about him.
Yeah. I have all the confidence in the world in Nick, and he's going to get this thing right.
For sure.
When I'm walking out Saturday night at the stadium, and somebody's chirping about how Brian Kelly's a whole lot better than Nick Saban. It took a little bit of restraint not to really let the guy have it. But, he's still got a losing record against Nick. And
right.
Nick will be fine. He knows what he needs to do. So, this whole narrative about winning 10 games and having pride in that, that feels a little stiff. Not gonna lie.
I thought that was so anti-Saban that was going to get the Tuscaloosa faithful riled up. Hunter, thank you for always playing along, man. And
yeah, absolutely. Enjoy it. You guys do a good job.
Appreciate you interacting with the show.
Hey, thank you for the gifts.
There is, absolutely. Thank you for the gifts.
Hey, good to see you on Friday, Lloyd.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming out. Came out to Uncle Rolster, mic'd up, dropped off the gifts. I appreciate you stopping through, man. We did a little patio show.
Yeah, hey, that's hour and a half with you guys got with Mikey Matu. So,
thank you.
No breaks.
Appreciate you, Hunter.
We go full in the whole time. Straight hour and a half, power hour and a half. Speaking of power hour, Shay Dixon up next, 10 o'clock.
Yep.
That's a segment. That's a segue.
Segue. Thank you.
Thank you, Hunter.
All right, Hunter. Thank you, man. Thank you again.
All right.
Appreciate everybody for interacting out there today. Stick around. As Lloyd said, you'll be talking recruiting here with Shay Dixon. Of course, that brought to you by our friends Lance Beal, attorney at law down in Lafayette, Louisiana. We'll talk to Shay if you have any recruiting questions. And LSU is trending in a lot of spots right now as far as recruiting is concerned. Make sure and stick around. Shay Dixon and Lloyd and the crew coming up. Stewie will be here at 10 a.m. this morning for the Power Hour with Shay Dixon coming up here on the Jordy Culotta Show. For everybody, the whole crew, Brody Miller stopping in, for Jacques, for Stefanski, appreciate y'all for watching. Hit that like button, share button, comment button. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Brought to you by Chevrolet.